لوبډلې دي چې د دوی راتلونکی وټاکي او افغان کرکټ بورډ به د دغه لوبغاړو د دغه لوبو په ترسره کولو سره د راتلونکي اسیا جام او نړیوال جام لپاره لوبډله برابروي. نو افغان لوبغاړو ته هم دغه زیاتې مهمې دي او که چېرې دوی ښې لوبې ترسره کوي دوی راتلونکي سکواډونو کې د اسیا جام او نړیوال جام لپاره هم اخیستل کېږي.
نو عمرجانه ته زما زیړو تسپو ته ډېر ګورې که نه، خو زه بیا وایم چې همدا زیړې تسپې به انشاءالله پښتو وي. صحیح ده؟ او دلته به سلوریزم ترسره کړي.
بلکل ښکلی شاټ ترسره شو او عثمان غني دی چې پرله پسې د شاټونو هڅه کوي او تېزه لوبه یې روانه کړې ده. 21 منډې ترلاسه کړې دي د 21 توپونو په لوبولو سره. 28 منډې لري افغانستان د 1 ویکټې په زیان سره 8.2 اورونه پای ته رسېدلي دي.
ترمنځ اورېدونکو تاسو کولی شئ په فیسبوک کې زموږ پیج یا فیسبوک پاڼه RTE پکتیکا ولټوئ. هلته راسره د لوبې په اړه خپل نظرونه شریک کړئ. ځل بیا بال ترسره کېږي. بال د 1 منډې لپاره اسانه لوبېږي، یو منډه ترلاسه کېږي. تاسو کولی شئ په RTE پکتیکا کې خپل نظرونه راسره د کومنټ یا تبصرې له لارې شریک کړئ تر څو ستاسو نظرونه هم د لوبې په اړه باندې موږ ولولو. د افغانستان منډې 8 ته لوړې شوي دي، 8.3 اورونه پای ته رسېدلي دي. عثمان غني 32 منډې لري، 22 بالونه یې لوبلي. حشمت الله شاهدي په 7 بالونو باندې 10 منډې ترلاسه کړي دي. 9 اوور یې دامه لري، د 9 اوور 3 بالونه ترسره شوي. که څه هم په دې وروستیو کې افغان لوبغاړو د سلو توپ اچوونکو په وړاندې باندې ښه لوبه ترسره کړې ده. فاسټ بالرانو په وړاندې چندان خوندور نه دي ثابت شوي. دلته بیټسمین مخامخ چې کوم بورډ یا لوحه لګېدلې ده، توره لوحه، هغوی غواړي چې خپل موقعیت انتخاب کړي. د 9 اوور 4 بال ترسره کېږي. شاهدي بال لوبوي، 2 فیلډران هڅه کوي بال ایسار کړي. بال ایسارېږي او دلته یو منډه ترلاسه کېږي. 9 منډې شوې د افغانستان 8.0 پای ته رسېدلي دي. افغانستان او ارلینډ به 5 لوبې ترسره کوي. دا لوبې په ارلینډ کې ترسره کېږي. د 9 اوور 5 بال ترسره کېدونکی ده. تیزو قدمونو استعمال، فایر کراس کوي. په زړه پورې بال په هوا کې د 6 منډو لپاره پوینټ طرف ټیکه ورته لوبېږي. واقعا چې دلته عثمان غني یو په زړه پورې شپږیزه ترلاسه کړه. خپل نندارچیان یې وهڅول، تشویق یې کړه، د هغوی په خوله یې خندا راوسته. په زړه پورې شاټ. هغه دوستان اورېدونکي چې دوی د لوبې په اړه راسره د تلیفون په کرښه خپل نظرونه شریکوي، د دوی لپاره زموږ تلیفون هم خلاص ده. قدرمن اورېدونکو تاسو کولی شئ وروسته له موږ سره په خپرونه کې برخه واخلئ او د لوبې په اړه راسره خپل نظرونه شریک کړئ. بال ترسره کېږي، بیا هم بال مخامخ لانګ آف ته لوبېږي او هلته فیلډر په ځای سره شتون لري. هغه دوستان چې په خپرونه کې بیا له موږ سره وصل کېږي او له موږ سره به په خپرونه کې خپل نظرونه شریکوي، دوی کولی شي له موږ سره په 0 یا هم 0 شمېره باندې د خپلې اړیکه ونیسي او په خپرونه کې راسره خپل نظرونه شریک کړي. هغه دوستان چې فیسبوک ته لاسرسي لري دوی کولی شي له موږ او ټولو اورېدونکو سره شریک کړي. 9 اورونه پای ته رسېدلي دي. افغانستان 15 منډې لري. یو وکټ موږ له لاسه ورکړي. رحمان الله ګورباز قیمتي وکټ. عثمان غني 38 منډې ترلاسه کړي، 24 بالونه یې لوبولي. حشمت الله شاهدي په 8 بالونو باندې 19 منډې ترلاسه کړي. که څه هم تاسو ته به پته وي چې افغانستان په دغه لوبه کې په سلو توپ اچوونکو ښه لوبه ترسره کړې. بلکل هر سلو توپ اچوونکی چې راځي افغان لوبغاړي ښه لوبوي. پیچ د سلو توپ اچوونکو لپاره زیات مدد نه کوي. پیچ سلو پیچ دی. نن د افغان لوبغاړو لپاره هم یوه چیلنجي لوبه ده. د افغان سپینرانو په وړاندې به ګورو چې ارلینډي توپ وهونکي څه ډول لوبه ترسره کوي. د 10 اوور د ترسره کولو لپاره ډاکریل راغلی دی.
او د خپل لومړی اور ترسره کوي. ښکلی بال یې ترسره کړ، کومه منډه پرې ترلاسه نه شوه. 38 منډې ترسره کړي دي عثمان غني د 24 توپونو په لوبولو سره. ورسره څنګ کې حشمت الله شهیدي په 11 منډو باندې لوبه کوي. د ریورس سویپ هڅه خو نه بریالی کېږي حشمت الله شهیدي. 15 منډې ترسره کړي دي د 9.2 اورونو په ترسره کولو سره. او رحمان الله ګربز دی چې خپله ویکټ یې له لاسه ورکړې ده. بیا هم بال ولوبېده په لومړیو دریو توپونو سره. ډاکریل کومه منډه نه ده ورکړې.
قدرمنو اورېدونکو د 10 اور 4 بال ترسره کېږي شاهدي په وړاندې. دلته بال وایټ پراخ بال څه هم توپ اچونکی وایي چې د وایټ خپل بال نه ده راځي د امپایر له پرېکړې نه. ګورو چې دا بال څنګه ترسره کوي. بال په هوا کې ده. بال دلته پول سټرلینګ کیچ ترلاسه کوي. واقعا چې په زړه پورې کیچ یې ترلاسه کړ. د شاهدي وکټ و چې موږ په 6 منډو کې له لاسه ورکړه. بال که څه هم ایج واخیستل، شاهدي غوښتل یو پراخ شاټ ترسره کړي، خو بال د وکټ کیپر په سر باندې اوړي. هلته پول سټرلینګ ټول نجیب الله زدران ته سترګې. نو ګورو به چې دی د ارلینډي توپوهونکو په وړاندې بهانه ترسره کوي. خو په وروستیو لوبو کې د شپږیزې په ټول سیریز کې نجیب الله زدران شاوخوا 11 لوبې ترسره کړې وې. په ټولو لوبو کې د ښه لوبه ترسره کړې ده او له ډېرو تمریناتو برخمن لوبغاړی دی. په وروستیو کې زیات تمرینات هم ترسره کړي. نو ګورو به چې دی د ارلینډي لوبغاړو په وړاندې څه ډول توپوهنه ترسره کوي. ډاکریل به ورته 5 بال ترسره کوي. په 5 توپونو سره یې 4 توپونو سره یې کومه منډه نه ده ورکړې او یوازې یو واید یې ترسره کړی دی. د حشمت شهیدي کومه منډه نه ده ورکړې او یوازې یو واید یې ترسره کړی دی. د حشمت شهیدي وکټ هم وه. پرلپسې د شاټ هڅه وکړه خو په 4 توپ سره ډاکریل د 2 وکټ ترلاسه کوي د پول سټرلینګ په کیچ سره. یعنې د 10 اور 5 بال اکریل ترسره کوي. بال لوبیږي. یو اسانه منډه 7 منډې لري افغانستان. 9.5 اورونه پای ته رسېدلي. نجیب الله زدران عثمان غني لوبه کوي. عثمان غني 9 منډې لري. 25 بالونه یې لوبولي. د افغانستان د منډو رن ریټ 2.3 ده. کوي. وروستی بال د 10 اور ترسره کېږي. الله زدران بال دلته لوبوي. یو منډه ترلاسه شوه. د افغانستان منډې 8 لوړې شوې. افغانستان له دې نه وروسته کوم لوبغاړي ځان سره لري؟
له دې نه وروسته به نو نبي ساخیل، ورسره څنګ کې عظمت الله عمرزی، راشد خان، فضل حق فاروقي. دغه تر فضل حق فاروقي پورې افغان لوبغاړي کولی شي ښه بیټینګ ترسره کړي. ډېر اورونه پاتې نه دي. 10 اوره لوبه نوره پاتې ده. که چېرې تر 14 اوره پورې عثمان غني او نجیب الله زدران ملګرتیا ترسره کړي، نو وروستیو اورونو کې افغانستان کولی شي چې وروستیو 6 اورونو کې تر 80 منډو پورې ترسره کړي. نو د افغانستان راتلونکی بیټسمین به نبي ساخیل وي چې دی د افغانانو لپاره توپوهنه کوي. خو نجیب الله زدران او عثمان غني به ملګرتیا ترسره کوي. وکټ به له لاسه نه ورکوي. نجیب الله زدران د اډیډ په وړاندې ولاړ دی. 12 منډې ورکړي دي په 2 اورونو کې او بالي د 1 منډې لپاره ولوباوه. عثمان غني 9 منډې ترلاسه کړي 25 توپونو سره. که څه هم عثمان غني د سکواډ کې لومړی د ریزرف لوبغاړو یا احتیاطي لوبغاړو په ډله کې شامل شوی و. څو ستونزه یې وه ویزه کې. د پر ځای به یې درویش رسولي لوبه ترسره کړې وه. خو درویش رسولي د کرکټ بورډ په وینا په تمرین کې د په کلب کې ځان خوښ کړی و، زخمي و، نو د هغه په ځای بېرته عثمان غني سکواډ کې اخیستل شوی دی چې نن یې واقعا د افغانستان لپاره ښه لوبه ترسره کړې ده. د منډو لړۍ جاري ساتلې ده او 9 منډې یې ترلاسه کړې دي. بیا هم د شاټ هڅه وشوه، بال ولوبول شو او یوه منډه ترلاسه شوه.
د افغانستان لپاره ابراهیم زدران چې په لوبه کې په سکواډ کې شته، ډېره تکیه په دوی ده، ځکه دوی هم آلراونډران دي او په وروستیو کې په شپږیزه کې ښې لوبې ترسره کړي دي. افسر زازی او ورسره خوا کې هغه سکواډ چې اخیستل شوی و لکه ابراهیم زدران او محمد نبي ساخیل، خپل راشد خان او نور زموږ له لوبغاړي، دوی کولی شي په زړه پورې لوبې ترسره کړي. دلته بال احتسابي 11.2 اورونه پای ته رسېدلي دي. افغانستان 81 منډې لري، 40 منډې لري. عثمان غني په 26 بالونو یې 40 منډې ترلاسه کړي. د افغانستان د کرکټ د ملي لوبډلې رن ریټ 7.4 ته لوړ شوی ده. بال ترسره کېږي د تېزو قدمونو استعمال. وزارې امپایر د پراخ بال پرېکړه کوي. توپ اچوونکی دوامداره کله چې پراخ بال ترسره کوي خاندي او د امپایر له شوې پرېکړې نارضایتي ښکاروي. له پیله مو هم یاده کړه چې پرېشر مات کړي. بیا هم د 11 اور 4 ترسره کېږي. چینجا پیس بال مستقیما بال د وکټ ساتونکي لاسونو ته لوېږي. د 11 اور 2 بالونه پاتې دي. افغانستان 83 منډې لري. پرله پسې هڅه کوي عثمان غني چې بال د یو لوړ شاټ لپاره ولوبوي. بیشت او بال ټچ نه خوري. افغان تماشایان خپله لوبډله تشویقوي. بیا چینج بال، چینج اپیس، مسلسل دوه پرله پسې. ستاسو که فکر وي د بالر یو کمال همدا ده چې کله په دې باندې پوهېږي چې توپچوونکی زما لپاره خطرناک ثابتېږي، نو هماغه مهال توپ اچوونکی چینج اپیس بالونه ترسره کوي.
بالکل پرله پسې دوهم بال و البته درېیم بال چې یو بال یې وایډ ترسره کړ، دوه پرله پسې چینج اپیس بالونه او سلو بالونه و د عثمان غني په وړاندې ډېر یې ترسره کړي دي او په دواړو بالونو باندې کومه منډه ترلاسه نه کړه. عثمان غني وروستي بال سره یوه منډه ترلاسه کېږي او افغانستان د 11 اورونو په ترسره کېدو سره 84 منډې لري. 2 لوبغاړي حشمت الله شهیدي او رحمان الله ګربز خپله ویکټې له لاسه ورکړي دي.
تر دې دمه قدرمنو اورېدونکو، لوبه د افغانستان توپوهونکو که څه هم ډېر موقعیت تغیر کړی تر څو ستاسو غږ سم واورو. اوس هم غږ ښه شو. مهرباني. ښه قدرمن اورېدونکو د دغه ورور اړیکه که څه هم وصل وه خو د دوی غږ موږ سم ونه اورېدو. بل اړیکوال ته ځو او بیا د لوبې بهیر ته داخلېږو. السلام علیکم. مهرباني ستاسو اړیکه وصل ده. زموږ خبرې اورئ؟ بلې. ښه قدرمن اورېدونکو د دوی اړیکه له موږ سره پرې شوه. 100 پکتیکا ملي راډیو واورئ. 12 ساعتونه پای ته رسېدلي له لاسه ورکړي دي. جاب لیټله که څه هم په تېرو لوبو کې هم د افغانستان لپاره د افغانستان په وړاندې باندې ښه توپ اچونه ترسره کړې ده. لومړی د خپلې لوبډلې لپاره 14مه ورته لا بلل شوې ده. بال ترسره کوي د تیزو قدمونو استعمال. عثمان غني بال د یوې منډې لپاره لوبوي. یوازې یوه اسانه منډه وه چې عثمان غني ترلاسه دلته نجیب الله زدران د لوبې 14مه اوور په دوهم بال باندې چې نوموړی د خپلې لوبډلې لپاره څه کولی شي، ځکه دا وخت د افغانستان لپاره یوه منډه هم مهمه ده. توپ اچوونکو ته لوبه اسانېږي که موږ لوی ټارګېټ ورکوو. دلته فیلډینګ کې هم تغییر راځي. بال ترسره کېږي. نجیب الله زدران ته د تیزو قدمونو استعمال. امپایر یې کراس کو. بال ډېر ښه ورته لوبېږي. یوه بله منډه ترلاسه کېږي. افغانستان 3 منډې لري. 12.2 اورونه پای ته رسېدلي. عثمان غني په 33 بالونو 45 منډې ترلاسه کړي. د افغانستان د کرکټ ملي لوبډلې رن ریټ 7.45. نجیب الله زدران په 7 بالونو باندې 8 منډې ترلاسه کړي. عثمان غني تر دې دمه په زړه پورې لوبه کړې. بیا هم بال ترسره کېږي. عثمان غني بال دلته لوبوي. فیلډر هڅه کوي بال ایسار کړي خو بال د 4 منډو لپاره ګزارېږي. هیډ وکټ په خوا باندې بال لوبېږي. عثمان غني ده چې خپلې منډې 9 ته لوړوي. یوازې له نیمه سلیزې نه یو وروسته ده تر څو نوموړی نیمه سلیزه پوره کړي. واقعا چې په ښه انداز خوندور شاټونه ترسره کوي. عثمان غني په 4 بالونو باندې 9 منډې ترلاسه کړي. یوازې یو منډه پاتې ده چې نوموړی 50 ترلاسه کړي. نیمه سلیزه پوره کړي. عثمان غني بال بیا هم په زړه پورې ولوبول سو. 2 منډې ترلاسه سوې. له دې سره عثمان غني نیمه سلیزه ترلاسه کړه. 50 یې پوره کړه. په 15 بالونو یې 50 منډې ترلاسه کړې. خپلو لوبغاړو تماشیانو ته هرکلی کوي. دوی نه مننه کوي. لیکوال هم اخلو. السلام علیکم. جوړ بخیر. اورې ورور خیرت قراري ده؟
الحمدلله. زه به خو ښه روانه ده، خو رحمت الله ګربز چکاپ یې وستو.
او رحمان الله ګربز خورا د هغوی شتون مهم و، خو دا شیبه عثمان غني په زړه پورې لوبه روانه کړې.
بس عثمان غني راځي مټ ورکړي سره زه به روانه.
صحیح. ډېره زیاته او انشاءالله بس تاسو دعاګانې به وي د خپلې لوبډلې لپاره، او افغانستان به په دغه لوبه کې هم بریالیتوب ترلاسه کوي. دلته عثمان غني یو بل افسلوریزه ترلاسه کړه. ډېره زیاته مننه. کورومدان ستاسو له اړیکې نه. نو عثمان غني په 30 بالونو باندې 15 منډې ترلاسه کړي دي. نجیب الله زدران په 7 بالونو 8 منډې ترلاسه کړي. بیا هم عثمان غني بال لوبوي. یوه اسانه منډه ترلاسه کېږي. د افغانستان منډې 104 ته اوچتې سوې. 14 اورونه پای ته رسېدلي دي. په 30 بالونو باندې 50 منډې عثمان غني ترلاسه کړي. واقعا چې د افغانستان لپاره یو ښه په زړه پورې پیل و. السلام علیکم. السلام علیکم. خوشحاله اوسېږئ ګرانه. نوم مو اخلئ. څوک خبرې کوئ؟ د افغانستان او ارلینډ ترمنځ لوبې په اړه نظر څه ده؟
محمد علي له کټوازه کې.
ښه محمد علي جان، د کټواز کومې سیمې نه؟
څه کلي؟
د میس له کلي؟ خدای مو راوله. میس ته مو په خیر راغلی. خپرونې ته ډېره زیاته مننه. د لوبې بهیر اورئ؟ ما ویل چې لوبه م تعقیب کړې؟ بلې هغه ده چې ورور غږ دې ورک شو. هغه دوستان چې تازه زموږ سره وصل کېږي دوی کولی شي موږ سره په دې شمېرو اړیکه ونیسي. دوی ته به د اړیکې شمېره هم وایو سره کېږي. عثمان غني یو ځل بیا غوښتل چې بال ډیپ کور ته ولوبوي، خو بال تر بیټ لاندې پاتې کېږي. د لوبې د 14 اور دوهم بال ترسره کوي. عثمان غني بال ولوباوه. دلته بیلډر په ځای سره موجود دی. یوه اسانه منډه ترلاسه کېږي. د افغانستان منډې 150 ته لوړېږي. افغانستان په وکټ له لاسه ورکړي. 14.2 اورونه ترسره شوي دي. عثمان غني 50 منډې لري. په 19 بالونو باندې د افغانستان د منډو رنډې 7.8 ته لوړ شوی. ګورو چې د 14 اور درېیم بال څنګه ترسره کېږي. نجیب الله زدران بال د 6 منډو لپاره ولوباوه. واقعا چې دلته یو په زړه پورې شپږیزه ترسره کېږي. لنډي لوبغاړي حیران پاتې دي. قدرمن اورېدونکو، دا شیبه د خبرونو په لور باندې ځو. له خبرونو وروسته بیا هم تاسو ته راګرځو. پکتیکا ملي راډیو واورئ. دا چې د خبرونو وخت ده، نو راځئ چې له پکتیکا ملي راډیو څخه خبرونه په ګډه واورو.
سه شنبه د 1401 کال د اسد ازمري د میاشتې 13 نیټه ده چې د روان 1444 هجري قمري کال د محرم الحرم له 11 نیټې سره سمون خوري. پام راګرځوم له پکتیکا ملي راډیو نه د نن شپې 8 بجو خبري ټولګي ته. په سر کې هم د څو مهمو خبرونو د سرټکي. د کابل پوهنتون استادان وایي د غواګانو جلدي ناروغۍ انسانانو ته د انتقال وړ نه ده. د کورنۍ چارو سرپرست وزیر وایي د بنسټیزو پروژو ساتنه او پالنه هېواد د ځان بساینې په لور بیایي او دا د ټولو ګډ مسؤلیت دی. په ننګرهار کې سلګونه جریبه دولتي ځمکه د غاصبینو له منګولو خلاصه شوه. د اسلامي امارت په تشکیلاتو کې نوي کسان په دندو وګمارل شول. حکومتي مسؤلین وایي د قوشتېپې کانال چارې به تر ټاکلې نیټې وړاندې بشپړې شي. په هلمند کې 11 تنه د غلا په تور ونیول شول. سیلابونو د پکتیا 70% کرنیزې ځمکې له منځه وړي. او په بهرنیو خبرونو کې به واورئ په غلو دانو بار 2 نورو کښتیو هم د اوکراین له بندرونو حرکت وکړ. اوس هم بشپړ خبرونه. بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. ویان محمد حنیف مختار. د غواګانو جدي ناروغۍ انسانانو او نورو څارویو ته د لېږدونې وړ نه ده. کابل پوهنتون د غواګانو
tournaments all around the world. Very nice man. Has been a huge servant for Afghan cricket over the years.
An interesting call this, bringing Barry McCarthy on here. In for 24 from his 2, so possibly seen a lot from Barry. Wicket taking over, but economy rate has been the Achilles heel for a few years now. Maybe an opportunity to try and get another wicket. Afghanistan 4 down. First delivery. And just gets 3 for 1.
The most important thing for Barry McCarthy is be as straight as you can. You pitch yourself really good football. Obviously, Barry has a number and a variety of deliveries, but I just think, the deliveries I've watched Afghanistan play defensively here, those just back of the line, hitting top of off stump nice and straight. Others tend to respect that. You see, you can get it pushed away for a single, but there's nothing wrong with that.
Leg pulled out. Okay, for 1. Some nice handlers. The crease, including a new batter. It's not the over the 4 shot hole. Could have been brought back on.
You sounded like the George Duckle fan club here. Maybe he's a believer.
Well, I understand we don't want to come across like that, but we don't want to overrun the burden.
Just might get a spin from the other end, I reckon.
A chance there. And an important wicket of Barry McCarthy. He's done it again. He's got a wicket. And Harry Tector has taken a steeper there at deep mid wicket. Never really in doubt, and proves us wrong in the commentary box here, Alan, because Barry McCarthy was entrusted to bowl this 15th over. He's got the key wicket of Usman Ghani for 59.
Fantastic innings from Usman Ghani, but again, very good bowling from Barry McCarthy, and that went a million miles in the air, and that man Tector was under it. I spent many an hour in the back garden, and he kept going with the tennis ball for 9 years. Right, higher, 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 Rudolph. controls those deep areas now for Ireland, long on, deep mid wicket. T20 cricket and a very reliable fielder. Good single that.
A good single take and good hit from Zarin there as Nabi got through. But same stage at this stage of the innings, single will not hurt him.
No, absolutely not. I was going to say, obviously, I found the pitch report earlier, so the pitch was played well, Andrew. There's been good, consistent bounce. McCormick here, of course, a lot more judgment will be made. Second innings.
Pulled away by Zanran. Get his account up and running. Centre again, busy out there on the square leg boundary. You can see the strapping around his wrist. It's just had a niggling. It's problems right this summer. Hasn't that, that's for sure.
Well, I'm happy to take that a go. Look, Harry Tector. And I'm just going back to Barry McCarthy. And it closes out a very good over. A wicket and only 5 was from the over. A very good one for Ireland. End of 15, 118 for 4. Very important.
Magic.
Little and Adair were very good at the top as well. So not a bad bowling effort. So far from Ireland, but this 5 overs is going to be absolutely critical to bring you through those 5. It's going to be Nathan Jones, Happy Dutch.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Doctor returning for Dundonald ends. Very good first over. For 3 off us. I think this is a good matchup here. Mohamed Nabi, his strike rate against the ball moving away from him is a lot lower. To an off spinner, or indeed a seamer at the other end.
Wicket in the last over of Usman Ghani was absolutely massive in terms of the timing of the wicket. And we've got 5 overs to play now, and George Stockwell coming in as a spinner, the left arm spinner, particularly. To be able to bowl that to batters that are new to the crease really does make all the difference, because they now have to get set and go again, as opposed to someone who is set already.
Ball into the pitch from Dockwell, punched the back foot down to long off. So with that big wicket, fighting the previous over. Afghanistan looking at here, 24 and 16. What, this position, what was the winning score for them?
Still want to get about 50 off the last 5 overs here. You can see they're rotating the strike really well, or looking to anyway. So we see an overthrow there.
This was the heart, wasn't it?
Nick Logan's pucker, I think he was just looking to roll it back to George Stockwell, and unfortunately has thrown it straight back over his head.
That's initially it was a really bit of work from the keeper, Tucker. Lightly quick off the mark to get it to the offside. It looked like it got off the single, but then he just airmailed it over Dockwell. Pushed hard here for 2, but it's good work from George Dockwell of his own bowling.
Yeah. Doc's doing a really great job of changing his pace at the moment, and it's really difficult for either of these batters to line them up or get into him. You can see each ball slightly different, whether it's not angled on the crease, whether it's through the air. That one we saw went on with the arm. First ball we bowled in the over was actually a little bit slower, and had a little bit of turn there away from the right-handed batter, which makes it very difficult to actually run up.
In the air, straight down the throat of Harry Tector. He's not dropping that. Mohamed Nabi is absolutely livid with himself. Bowled into the pitch from Dockwell, and Nabi just pulled it hard, straight out for deep wicket.
10 metres outside of Harry Tector there, and I think that was 4 runs. It was into the wicket, it was there, hit, and just picked out Harry Tector at cow corner. Again, coming into this game, we thought Aaron Ryan might be the number 1 spinner with 2 support acts, but Gareth Delaney, George Stockwell have been absolutely fantastic today.
Well, it's a very bite-handed lineup, isn't it, from Afghanistan, as we see the wicket. short ball. You can see why Mohamed Nabi was absolutely livid with himself, like you said. Penny outside a hard attack to there, but the end of the Afghan skipper.
Alkazay water, pure mineral water.
Certainly knows how to hit a long ball. Saw him out there in the warm-up today, clearing the rope with ease. However, again, George Dockel bowling so well and that ball turning away, it's going to be a good contest here.
Let's cut him off the back foot. Straight point finger, 60 over. Score is 122 for 5.
Interesting, in the 10 overs since the power play, we've only had 6 boundaries hit, so there's 3 sixes and 3 fours. 220 cricket, 10 balls, 10 overs, sorry, you've got 60 balls there. And they've only managed to find the rope on 6 of them. Just a testament to the lines and the tight bowling of the Irish players, and that they haven't actually had too many opportunities. We haven't watched this and thought, oh, they've missed out there a few times. It's just been really, really good bowling.
Another change for Ireland. Looks like it's going to be Josh Little. This is the end. We're going to continue doing those changes. It's a decent note from Barry McCarthy from this end previously, but he's opting for the left armour, and it looks like Little's going to come around the wicket and try and cramp up Mazzai early on in his innings.
That's a fantastic piece of captaincy from Balboni with the new battery coming around the wicket. With Josh Little's extra bit of pace here, it can be really difficult to get onto. So Barry McCarthy has bowled really well, but he's probably a few kilometres slower than Josh Little. And with the angle of the left arm, it can be quite difficult to pace early on. Another edge flies down through the third man boundary. How many of those have we seen today?
It's not the first time, that's for sure. Good fortune there for Marzai to get himself off the mark. Little, well, he's got the protection down at third, so I don't think you can criticise him too much for offering that width outside off. It's just gone very fine. No chance for looking to get out behind the stumps.
That tactic took a bit off up, long on out. Against the angle, it's going to be pretty difficult to clear over that mid off midfielder.
It's interesting that they're going with the third back. That plan rather than fine leg, they must obviously think that Marzai is going to try and move to the leg side and create some room, and that's how he's going to counteract the short ball, rather than, so they're clearly not too worried about the top edge pull.
Yeah, it certainly looks like he's going to bowl that off stump line there, which makes it difficult for that top edge to go over to fine leg. And we spoke about earlier with Louis that we need to be able to find. You have to take it at some point as a captain and choosing what your options are. You're basically just trying to minimise that risk, given the areas, the lengths and the lines of bowling, and given the third man's out, deep covers out, back of the left, in and around that off fourth stump line is what Josh Little should be looking to bowl.
And he's bowling with plenty of pace off. It's back-to-back slower deliveries from Little, which makes sense with off up in the ring. He's talking about taking a risk with this plan. That is the risk, isn't it? If you get your leg marginally too full, you will disappear over mid-off with that man inside the ring.
Been a good 4 balls though. That 4 was very unlucky. He's got a good start to the over. Very good 17th over for Ireland. And Afghanistan, we're hoping to pick it up towards that 8 to 10 runs and over.
Change the field. We're just talking about how they're back and fine leg up in this spot. Fine leg now back. There he goes. Dug into the pages, pulled away, pulled all the way, I think, straight to the advertising hoardings. Just very good pull shot there. Hard in front of the square. I think perhaps with that field change, moving fine leg back, maybe he thought it was coming. The short ball.
That's well telegraphed there the leg knew it was coming effectively as soon as final leg went back. You had 4 fielders out on the leg side. I think there was only one option there for Josh Little, and that was to bowl into the wicket and straight. And Isaiah picked that up beautifully and nailed it to 6.
Going to prompt another change. Just the one delivery with the third up and the final leg back. Sterling finally dropped back into the circle. I suspect that's the plan, that offside plan that was so effective early on in the over. It's cut away down to third, and it's taken. Saying that it was such an effective plan from a run-saving point of view earlier in the over.
Should have kept that plan the whole time. In that back of the length outside the off-stump area there, very difficult to score from. He's gone for the uppercut and it's carried all the way down to third man. Brings us to the end of the 17th over. Afghanistan trailing at 134 for 6.
Well, I don't know if you picked it up there on the replay, Maddie, but after taking that catch, I don't know who he was looking at, but Piers Camper just looked at someone and shrugged his shoulders as if to say, well, why on earth did you bring me up in the first place for that other delivery? Just one of those things. I think that was a wicket-taking plan from Ireland, but it's come off and they'll take it.
Striking at 200 in the IPL this season with Gujarat Titans in their title winning campaign.
Push hard here for 2, but I can take you a deep wicket. That was too hard. Didn't wait up on that. The quality cricket Rashid Khan, I think the marker of it was retained him for the 100 this year. But they retained him knowing that he was in the series, but they're still willing to pay him overseas money for the few games that they do manage to get him in.
Strong appeal from Gareth Delaney. Look at the leg before, he skidded that right onto the stumps. A perfect delivery, and that's exactly what you're looking for as a leg spin bowler. Both keeper and bowler went up in unison there.
Delaney, firing towards those pads, not offering any weight. If you're going to hit me against the spin with the longer leg side boundary, go ahead.
Rashid Khan is a fairly unique bowler. One of his biggest strengths is the ability to bowl quick through the air and constantly attack stumps, which is exactly what Delaney's done. See another appeal. Almost run at the non-striker's end. At the end of the day, it's just a drop ball.
Strange sequence that. I would have thought it just came off the face of the net. She can't straight to short. Fine. It's good Floyd though. We talk about the speed that he's bowling through the air, but that kilometres an hour on the ball that Delaney's putting on, I think getting down on one knee and using the pace is a pretty good option. That.
Good piece of fielding there is to continue to attack the stumps and keep that length of that back of the length skinny line. That's what Rashid Khan does himself, and he does it so well. Gives you very few options, but either use your sweep shot to go across it, which is high risk, or create something to try to run it. I think you've made 3 of the over so far. Again, it's 2 really good overs tomorrow to back to back. On the stumps, he's really not giving away the stumps there, and it's a fantastic over. Only 4 off the over from Gareth Delaney. The end of the 138 for 6. Breathe. part of the world. The adaptation from Captain Alberti has been brilliant today, as you say. We don't really see too many spinners bowling at the death there, and you normally go to your quick bowlers. However, they've done the job through the middle today. And George Stockwell, Gareth Delaney have been huge in restricting Afghanistan at the moment. The final 2 overs today, we see Barry McCarthy come back into the attack. 2 wickets for him for 29 runs. Been a good comeback from Bristol where he did get tapped around a little bit.
I call that, as you can see what Vanguard is trying to do there. Almost a deep backward point, his onside sweeper is there. Field is certainly set behind the ball, well that side off, but just straight too far.
2 sweepers on the offside. It's a little bit unusual. It's a deep backward point and almost a deep forward point. And it looks like they're going to go full and wide. He's gone off and on in case he drags it around the corner. Again, that's full and wide. Learning with the wide line out there, but just inside.
What you take with this field is that if you are offering that much width, it doesn't take a lot to beat, and you're buying a short third there. We have seen plenty of things go through that area, especially with towards the tail end now as well. It's something you see a lot of with the batting T20 cricket, that you have that third back on the road. Ireland don't have it here.
As you can see, he's not even on the screen now. It's through Walker Tucker's leg and it's gone through for 4 byes. He'll be disappointed with that, Tucker.
Well, that is the ball, isn't it? With this field, you can't really offer too much pace, like I said, in case they do get that nick going to the tail. It's a pretty good cutter from wide to his field, and it's one of those tough ones that just bounces again close to Tucker, and the big gap between the legs, but the ball found it.
As you mentioned, with that third man there, you can see Brian there, a short third man. Given Kurt's back with a big point, it would be good to actually see Brian go a lot finer there. That can perhaps find my rookies there, they're always at the edge where we've seen at least 6 or 7 boundaries go around with.
There from McCarthy, and that's probably about what we were saying earlier, the sweepers a little bit squarer than usual. It's a conventional drive through actually cover. It's too much work to do for Gareth Delaney out there to stop the second run.
You don't mind that too much. Sometimes T20 cricket is about missing well. It's not always about getting perfect, but if you're going to miss, he's at least outside the off stump. He's full enough where there's a big cover and there's a long off out there. He'll certainly take 2 as opposed to earning 2 straight where he's able to go to the leg side.
Wide signals. McCarthy there. Again, see what the plan is. This is slightly wrong.
You can see McCarthy change to the umpire there as Zadran moves across his crease, and McCarthy has the right to actually move his ball fairly wide, but in that situation I think the umpire got it right. When McCarthy went even further across than Zadran did in his movement.
McCarthy, pace off again. 2 deliveries in a row, pace on. He goes back to that cutter. It's been an excellent delivery for him today. He's really getting a lot of purchase on this pitch. It's almost, this seems to be the way to go. As always, really here. Just cutter pulled into the pitch really hard. Just stop it a little bit.
Zadran with an almost hitting at that ball, and he's able to short deliveries out the depth there. I'm sure he won't be happy with how that's going. However, still to make good contact, you need to have that stable base and big skill enough to make good contact.
Now he does make contact. So he's seeing that camper at that deep backward point field that we were talking about. Actually can on strike, just a little bit starved. Strike since he's come in. Takes the 3 deliveries. John has been going up a little bit at the other end.
Rashid Khan is famous for his helicopter shot in Estonia. And where they can finally up in the ring, if he does get anything slightly too straight, I wouldn't be surprised to see him go for that flick. However, so far, the execution has been spot on.
Yeah, it's interesting to see this field has not changed. The plan looks like it is going to stay the same. Either outside off to Rashid Khan. In the Yeah, down to long off. And it's taken down there. George Dockman on long off makes no mistake. That's a massive wicket for Ireland, giving what we know Rashid Khan can do at the back end of an innings. He went to the slow ball outside off. Rashid Khan looks we've got a decent piece of it, but it is a big hit out there for that wide long off area. Dockman makes no mistake.
The Irish team here would be very happy with that. So Rashid Khan go with the bigs. Certainly done the job today with 3 wickets for 34 runs off his 4 overs. Fantastic spell of bowling. See Market Air come in to bowl the final for the first innings in this game.
Having no hack. The new man. Yeah, non-strikers then is there. Comes in for a ball of 20th. Oh, that's unfortunate. You can see there, just stumbled a little bit on his follow through, banging delivery, leading edge, looped over his head. I think didn't have to take that step to rebalance himself. I think he had a really good chance of getting back, taking that catch.
See, Ireland playing with the slight change in boundary sizes where this over they've opted to go for a stronger leg side field, fine leg, deep square leg, and cow corner out, and long on. So there's 4 out on the leg side. Looks like it's going to be into a wicket here. Fairly straight. You see there into the wicket fairly straight, got picked up absolutely beautifully by Zabran and put over the rope for 6.
That's a bit too straight for Mark there. That one just, that line, not really threatening the body at all with that bumper, and it's just very easy for Zabran just to swivel on it and help it over short line.
The miss there was almost length as well, going a little bit too short, and then also when you've got long on out as well, you can afford to be slightly fuller. But the line has to be very, very straight with mid off up in the ring. Excellent shot and great execution from Zadran.
Hit hard again, and that one is absolutely massive. Big leg side boundary there. There went pace off instead of the full pace bumper. Harry Tector was interested for half a second, but that ball just kept away over the wicket fence.
It's another great pick up into the wicket here from there. He's just struggling to hit that up beautifully. And that shot compared to the one that was much stiller, much more stable, and it's looking to time the ball effectively. And you can see the distance is easily carried, going about 10 to 15 metres over the rope straight into the fence.
He's probably reading it at the hand very well. The quicker bumper he's able to get over fine leg, and the slow ball as this one goes over extra cover this time, and there goes wide outside off with his mid off fielder inside the ring. Not easy pickings at this stage of the game. 3 matches in a row for Zadran.
Could be a game-changing knock from Zadran. We spoke about how he's only 8 off 12 balls. He's now 27 off 16. And this is a miss that you don't want. Mid off. And this one full and wide. So that's exactly what you're looking for. And
but perhaps going to the wrong end. Notice then is the danger, but I don't think Mark there actually go off with some step, so I don't think he had the options to go for the bubble as an end. And John moves on to 27 sevens now. The ball remaining in this Afghanistan against.
so Michael, 18 off the last 4 balls from Zadran, and all of it is striking at almost 300 and potentially put a home start position here. Final ball of the innings coming up.
unfortunately, he's missed his length. He hasn't timed it at all, and Harry Tector comes around and it's an easy two to end the innings. I have to say, just talk about momentum in T20 cricket. That over has given Afghanistan lots of it. Still decent effort with the ball from Ireland on 168 for 7 of their 20 overs. That last over aside, has that pushed this into a total that an above par total for Afghanistan?
Absolutely. Halfway through the innings, we were looking at, about 160, 170 was a pass ball. Towards the 18th over there, Ireland were well and truly on top, absolutely.
Agency energy drink. Alakazam water, pure mineral water. Alakazam water, pure mineral water.
Good performances from George Rocker will probably get stiff, not to bowl his ball at 2 for 7. And Barry McCarthy chipping in some very, very important wickets.
Yeah, I think you take going 8.5 and over any time that you pick up free for. That's the overall match situation. Afghanistan won the toss, they opted to bat, 20 overs in, they're 168 for 7. We want to take a short break, back with you in 3 minutes time.
او په د پورې اننګس د افغان لوبډلې لپاره لکه څنګه چې موږ په لومړیو کې ویلي چې افغان لوبډله کې د یو نیم سلو یا سلو شپېتو پورې ټارګېټ ټاکي نو د انګلینډ د ارلینډ لوبډلې لپاره به ډېر ستونزمن هماغه و چې د ارلینډ لوبډلې په خلاف باندې افغان لوبډلې یو سلو اته شپېته منډې وکړلې او اووه لوبغاړي یو سلو عثمان غني یو ځل بیا ثابته کړله چې هغه کولی شي په نړیوال سټیج باندې یا نړیوالو لوبو باندې دا کولی شي چې ښه کارکردګي ترسره کړي او ښه بیټینګ پکې ترسره کړي. همدغه چې نن عثمان غني 50 منډې په دغه سیالۍ کې ترسره کړلې. افغان لوبډلې ټاس ګټلی و. محمد نبي ساحل لومړی د بیټینګ پرېکړه وکړله او هماغه و چې لومړی بیټینګ کې افغان کرکټ لوبډلې یو سلو اته شپېته منډې وکړې د اوو لوبغاړو په اوټېدو سره. ترڅنګ یې نجیب زرغان هم ښه وځلېد، رحمان الله ګربز چې هغه هم په ظهور اننګس یا سټارټ د لوبډلې لپاره واسطه د عثمان او د ګربز ملګرتیا وه چې تر دې پورې هدف تر 188 منډو پورې ورسېږي که څه هم دغه پیچ یا دغه ویشتنځی د تیز بالرانو لپاره ډېره مرسته کوله هماغه و چې د ارلینډ د لوبډلې هغه لوبغاړي چې تاسو په یو کال 3 وکټې په دغه لوبه کې اخیستې وي تیز توپ اچوونکي 40 منډې هم ورکړې وې خو افغان بیټسمنانو په دې باندې وتوانېدل چې هغه ته پکې ماتې ورکړي خو که څه هغه هم ښه توپ اچونه ترسره کړه د خپلې لوبډلې لپاره خو دا به وخت ثابته کړي چې د دې پیچ باندې افغان بالران خپله نبیل الحق ترڅنګ یې فضل حق فاروقي او نور کوم لوبغاړي چې له دوی سره دلته به مسلسل نومونه تاسو په واخلو په نوې سیالي کې د آیرلینډ د لوبډلې له خوا نه په زړه پورې بیټنګ بي جي مکارټي چې په څلورو اورونو کې 40 منډې ورکړلې او 3 لوبغاړي او افغان توپوهونکو له خوا نه عثمان غني نه په دوه رحمانالله ګربز 16 منډې وکړلې او خپله ابراهیم زدران چې د کابل د لوبډلې سره هم په شپږیزه کې هغه هم 9 ناټ اوټ منډې ترسره کړلې که څنګه فضل حق فاروقي هم راوتی و چې نبیل الحق هغه هم سیالۍ ته راوتی و چې هغه هم په زړه پورې بیټنګ وکړو ټول لوبغاړي چې په دغه سیالۍ کې وو هغوی بیټنګ مخکې لاړ نه شو هماغه لوبډله چې په نوې سیالۍ کې په زړه پورې بیټنګ وکړه د خپلې لوبډلې لپاره عموما عثمان غني دی چې هر وخت د خپلې لوبډلې لپاره په زړه پورې بیټنګ کوي چې په نننۍ سیالۍ کې هم ښه ودرېده د افغان کرکټ لوبډلې نن په وکټ بیټنګ کې حضرت داغاینده عثمان غني او لومړی بیټنګ ته راووتي وو هغوی لومړی بیټنګ وکړو او لومړی بیټنګ ترڅنګ رحمانالله ګربز عثمان غني ابراهیم زدران اشمت الله شهیدي نجیب زدران په زړه پورې بیټنګ وکړو د خپلې لوبډلې لپاره عصمت عمرزی ورسره هم وو محمد نبي و راشد خان و فضل حق فاروقي او نوین الحق هغه لوبغاړی ده چې په دغه پیچ باندې ډېر لوبېدلی ده خو په دې سیالۍ کې فرید احمد نشته او فضل حق فاروقي شته دی فضل حق فاروقي او نوین هغه لوبغاړي دي چې په آیرلینډ کې ترڅنګ د انګلینډ په بلاست کوم لیګ چې هغه کې هم ښه ځلېدلي دي ښې کارکردګي کړې وه خصوصا نوین یوازینی لوبغاړی و په هغه لیګ کې چې ده ډېرې منډې وکټې اخیستې په خپل سره یوه لوبه کې شپږ وکټې اخیستې وي او د ده په نورو په دغه ټورنمنټ کې راشد خان چې ډېره موده بعد د کرکټ ادامه اخیستې وه خو بیا هم لوبې ته راغی او لوبه ترسره کوي نن به په دغه پیچ کې یا په دغه ویشتنځای باندې که څه هم بالران داسې ښه ونه چلېدل چې هغه راکنټرول کړي په بالینګ باندې او په بیټینګ کې هم ډېر وخت ښه ځلېږي ډېر وخت لږ لږ مشکلات وي پیدا کېږي لږ لږ مشکلات خو دا چې نن په بالینګ کې دوی بالینګ ترسره کوي ټارګېټ هم لوړ ټارګېټ ده په شل ورځو سیالیو کې همدغومره هدف یا دومره ټارګېټ څه هدف ته پېښ شوی دی د افغان لوبډلې لپاره 108 منډې چې هغوی پوره کوي نو په ډېر مشکلاتو او ډېر ستونزو سره به پوره کوي ځکه د افغان لوبډلې بالران د نړۍ په سطحه باندې هغه بالینګ ده یا هغه توپ اچونه ده چې ټول عمر یې دا ثابته کړې ده چې دوی په بالینګ کې کوي تل څوک چې ندیم الحق بالینګ کوي څرنګه فضلحق فاروقي دلته کله چې په حیدرآباد د لوبډلې کې د IPL کې د حیدرآباد لوبډلې سره فضلحق فاروقي وزله پورې توپ اچونه یې کړې وه راشد ارمان د نړۍ ستوری دی د ټولې نړۍ ته معروف دی چې هغه کولی شي د لاس یو هدف پر وړاندې ډېره ښه توګه پسونه وکړي په خپلو څلورو مقرره اورونو کې دا کوشش کولی شي چې اورونو منډې او اوسط راټیټ کړي له ځان سره او یعنې هغه منډې چې کومې دوی ته ورکول شوي دي یعنې راشد چې کوم هدف ورکول کېږي څه کولی شي په دغه څلورو اورونو کې دغه میچ چې هغه منډې راایستاده کړي چې د ارلینډ لوبډله ورته ضرورت لري خو دا به وخت ثابته کړي د څنګه فاروقي هم یو ځوان لوبغاړی په شپږیزه کې وکاته چې په شپږیزه کې تر ټولو نه زیاته اقتصادي توپ اچونه هغه هم فضلحق او فاروقي کړې وه وکړې هم ډېرې اخیستې وي خو په هر اور کې په هره لوبه کې د ده نه په هر څلورو اورونو کې په شپږیزه کې د ده نه 12 حتی د 14 نه زیاتې منډې نه دي شوي د ده څخه خو دا چې نن د آیرلینډ لوبډلې پر وړاندې چې پول سټرلینګ نن بیټینګ به کوي د آیرلینډ د لوبډلې لخوا نه د ده پر وړاندې څرنګه توپ اچونه ترسره کوي چې د نور نوي لوبغاړي چې تاسو د آیرلینډ لوبډله کې ګورئ دې نه مخکې دوی کومې سیالۍ چې ترسره کړې وي د سویلي افریقا سره د نیوزیلینډ سره کومې لوبې ترسره کړې وي هماغه چې دوی پکې ډېره په زړه پورې بیټینګ کړې د آیرلینډ لوبډلې خو د هغوی بالینګ او بالینګ د افغانستان د کرکټ بالینګ ډېر فرق لري کېدای شي ایسار کې لوبغاړي یا چې موږ راایسار کړي دي او دې ته لري چې هغه هدف پوره کړي مننه کوو د الیکوزي کمپنۍ څخه چې زموږ د خپرونې مالي ملاتړ یې کړی دی یعنې زموږ خپرونې سپانسر یې کړی دی په ډېر سخت وخت کې خصوصا د آیرلینډ او د افغانستان د دغه سیریز سره د 15 ورځو کوم سیریز چې دی په دغه کې زموږ مالي ملاتړ کړی دی نړۍ مننه کوو څو شېبې هم متل کېږو لوبه شروع کېږي لوبه په ګډه سره وګورو دوهم انینګ کې تاسو د دوهمې پاڼې څخه د افغانستان د بالینګ څخه او د آیرلینډ د لوبډلې د بیټینګ څخه خبر واخلئ دوستان پول سټرلینګ چې د نړۍ په سطحه یو ښه بیټسمین ده یو ښه نوم لري یو ښه ایکسپیرینس لري هغه کولی شي چې په زړه پورې بیټینګ نندارې ته وړاندې کړي خو لوبه ده هره لوبډله به کوشش کوي چې بریا ترلاسه کړي دا د افغان لوبډلې لپاره ډېر یو ښه چانس دی چې په دې کې هغه ځوانان ځان ثابت کړي چې د دوی لپاره کومې راتلونکي لوبې دي ایشیا کپ د نړیوال ورلډ کپ چې هغه په استرالیا کې ترسره کېږي خو ایشیا کپ بیا په دوبۍ کې ترسره کېږي هلته به افغانستان د سریلانکا بنګلادیش هندوستان او پاکستان نورې لوبډلې چې د کوالیفای راونډ څخه راځي د کویت لوبډله ده خپله د اماراتو لوبډله ده هغوی به کوشش کوي چې تر څو دلته د نیپال لوبډله ده که چېرې هغوی راځي نو دوی به هم دلته په ایشیا کپ کې د دوی سره سیالۍ ترسره کېږي د هغو سیالیو ژوندی بهیر به په 20 تاریخ د دغه اګست میاشتې په 20 تاریخ باندې پیلېږي خو دا معلومه نه ده چې د لومړي راونډ یا د کوالیفای راونډ څخه به کومې لوبډلې دوهم راونډ ته راځي او په دوهم راونډ کې به سیالۍ ترسره کوي خو خیر دا به باقي خبره ده په دې به بیا وروسته غږېږو خو په نننۍ سیالۍ کې په بیټینګ کې عثمان غني یو بیا سره ټکړله عثمان غني تاسو شپږیزه کې د سپین غر د ډېرې منډې کړې وې د خپلې لوبډلې لپاره هماغه چې د هغه په کپټنسۍ کې سپین غر لوبډلې په شپږیزه لیګ کې چې د افغانستان په سطحه باندې تر ټولو نه لوړ او غټ لیګ دی هماغه لیګ کې عثمان غني په دې وتوانېده چې په خپله کپټنسۍ یا خپله لوبډل مشرۍ کې په دې وتوانېږي چې بریا ترلاسه کړي او د سپین غر لوبډلې ته درېیم ځل لپاره د شپږیزې لیګ بریا ترلاسه کړي خو ترڅنګ یې تاسو ابراهیم زدران چې د کابل د لوبډلې سره هغه هم نه هیڅ منډې وکړې د خپلې لوبډلې په ګټه باندې هغه هم تاسو کاته په شپږیزه کې د کابل لوبډلې لپاره عموما چې سټارټ باکس هغه رحمان الله ګربز نو هغه سیالۍ به دوی ډېره په ښه ډول سره ګټله خو په اخرنیو کې چې بیا د سپین زهر سره لوبه شوله په دې ولتوانېدل چې بریا ترلاسه کړي چې سپین زهر کې هلته ښه بالران وو ښه ډګر ساتنه وشوله ښه فیلډینګ ترڅنګ ښه بالینګ وشو چې هغه د کابل لوبډلې راتاو کړله او ټیکړله او د سپین زهر لوبډله لوبې ته لاره پیدا کړله خو هغه داخلي لوبې وي داخلي پیچونه تاسو د نبي په انټرویو کې هم وکتل چې موږ نږدې وختو کې شپږیزه کړې ده زموږ ځوانان په فوم کې دي دوی په ټچ کې دي نو کولی شي چې لوبه وکړي ښه سیالۍ ترسره کړي یو ښه خپل عظمت ومرځي دا هغه بالران به وي باندې بالران به وي چې نن به په دغه سیالۍ کې د ارلینډ لوبډلې پر وړاندې توپ اچونه ترسره کوي دواړو لوبډلو جوړښت کې هیڅ شک نشته دی ارلینډ لوبډلې توپ اچونه تاسو وکتله چې عموما له ځان سره فاست بالران اچولي که څه هم پیج یا کوربتوب پیج هم ارلینډ لوبډلې په خپله طبع ونه جوړ کړی په خپل سیستم سره یې جوړ کړی دی خو دا چې څو شېبې وروسته به شروع کېږي په تصویر کې به وګورو د ارلینډ کوم پیج چې دی چې نن په کلي ترسره شوله کوم لوبه پرې وشوله د افغانستان کرکټ لوبډلې پرې بیټینګ وکړو او د ارلینډ لوبډلې بالینګ پرې وکړو وکټه وچه شوې ده دوهم بیټینګ به پرې سخت وي که څه هم موږ خپلې وکټې په وروستیو کې وار کړلې په لومړیو کې نه وي ورځو امپایران هم راځي ګراوند ته ورځو د لوبې لیدو ته او تاسو د لوبې لیدو ته راګرځوم تاسو د لوبې لیدو څخه خوند واخلئ او ما ته اجازه راکړئ او په الکوزي انرژي او نوشاکو او وڅخه په دې ګرمه موسم کې ډېر استفاده کوي ورځو لوبې ته ورځو او د لوبې د لیدو څخه خوند واخلئ
Welcome back to Stormont for the start of Ireland's chase. That's 169 they require after Afghanistan finished with a flurry. Big last over. As usual, Mr. Sterling and Valverde to open batting for Ireland. Just get the sense, Alan. So the momentum is with Afghanistan now after that finish.
Yeah, the last over was just disappointing. They can be the momentum swings, as we well know in this format of the game. And it will give the Afghans a spring in their step. As Fazal, Faruqi, left arm over the wicket to Paul Sterling. Let the battle begin.
Strong defensive shot to begin on Sterling as he picks out extra cover. It's been not quite a theme, but just every now and then we see from Ireland, I think they played 70-20 so far this summer, and on 4 of those occasions they've lost 3 wickets in the power play, and the exact number isn't to hand, but I believe 2% of the time when that happens you go on to lose the game. So Ireland need it here.
Very much so.
We're off the mark here. Sterling out of half the bat, down to third. When the skipper on strike.
Again, really important time this now for the skipper Andy Balbirnie. Ireland will certainly be hoping he can retrieve some of the form that he's obviously shown in a stellar career for Ireland, Andy Balbirnie.
Off the mark first ball. Faruqi went full and straight. He did well not to fall over on that one, and he jams it to the leg side for a single. Interesting to see up on the trend with what only once at Stormont in an international T20 has a team chased over 40 back here last month.
The other thing to note, Paul Sterling now on strike, playing his 300th game of T20 cricket, almost career all around the world for Paul Sterling. Fazal going really full here. Paul Sterling and Balbirnie. And he started very well. Only 2 singles for his first 4 deliveries.
Well, it's interesting that he is offering that width to Paul Sterling. We all know he loves to play those check drives through the offside. I think the length there on that occasion got Faruqi out of trouble. It was very full, very difficult to get anything serious on that one. Wow. He did try and straighten up, but he straightened up too much, and you have to ball that one again.
Bowled 5 of those, obviously, as any team. Wides are part of the equation. You try and minimise them as much as you can. The real terror, of course, is a no ball. Obviously, the extra ball and a free hit, but the gifts.
Half an appeal. Faruqi was already running after the ball before he decided to turn around and just ask the question out of courtesy. That one. If there's any outside, probably high as well.
Well, the thing for Paul Sterling here, Fasal, is just showing the ability by getting full, to get that ball swinging back into the right-hander, and it's troublesome type delivery for a right-hander. You're never quite sure where your off stump is. The most important ingredient as a batter is that, and it's been very good from Fasal so far.
It's good for Faruqi. Not giving Sterling that weight to free his arms, like he likes to do early in the innings. Singles off the over, 2 singles and a wide rather. It's 3 without loss.
Jose Jensen, energy drink. And no surprise to see the vastly experienced Mujib come into the attack. This is sort of thing that Afghanistan do every game, and he's something he is employed to do, and he does it with great success. Mujib over Haman.
Well, he's an interesting one, Mujib, isn't he? He wasn't down to play in this series. He was only initially named as a reserve, and then he came out with the team sheet this morning, and he's on it. So no round with residual, and that's a super shot, Manju Alberni. Relatively risk-free, use and just helps it over fine leg.
I think that's something you're going to see quite a bit of from Andrew Balbirnie here, particularly in the power play. Always an excellent sweeper. He's going to help that on its way, which is exactly what is required, and it's gone all the way for 6. Good start. Mujib holding that one back. That's very clever bowling. Mujib, a canny customer.
So that sweep shot again, and there's a fielder out there, Rashid Khan is doing the fielding, and he did just move about 10 yards to his right from there after that previous Albert that, but it ends up landing comfortably in front of the fielder.
Nice positive beginning from the Ireland captain. Comes his coach backing him. So that in the newspapers today, and again a little bit of fortune as Afghanistan also had that skews away off a pickish outside edge down to the boundary, and a productive over so far this from Ireland. 11 off it so far from Mujib.
When you say there's fortune there, Alan, but I think that's a pretty poor delivery. He's looking to go pace on, but he's offered pace on with outside off, and his field is definitely set to be bowling straight. Like that delivery. That's Paul Sterling. There's 4 defensive down the over, and that is 14 without loss through 2.
Solid start from Ireland, 14 without lots. You don't want the run rate to get away from you, but equally that wickets column
Who's that? Wow.
People come across, and he's back for a comfortable second. You say that about the top order, and it's interesting. If you think back to the old T20 qualifiers in Oman back February time, you'd almost think the problem for Ireland was the opposite. They always would have a good power play with Sterling and Balbirnie, and once the spinners would come on outside the first six, the middle order would struggle. There's some of the problems being the reverse. So it's quite frustrating. Like, you know, there's one element of the game that's going right, the other one is not quite there. It's only a symptom of T20 cricket, that.
Oh, that's a cracking shot. No problem with foot movement there from Andy Balbirnie. Right forward to and caress that through extra cover. That's a fantastic shot from him.
Too much weight from Faruqi. We said it in the previous over, he did a pretty good job of tucking up these Irish batters, but that's just full and wide. And when he climbs into it, glorious drives. A few exquisite shots early on in his innings here.
It just seems to be, obviously Andrew Balbirnie has a very upward stance, Nathan. Just that little bit of a crouch now before the delivery is bowled. Look at it there. Okay, that's kind of jagged away a bit, but just in an effort, a little bit of that forward press to try and get those feet moving. Because again, previously, in the games he was kind of just stuck in the crease a bit, so it's pleasing to see that. But you refer to the different trends of cricket. Have you ever played golf?
Well, about that for everyone's sanity, the better. All the poor golfers out there. Faruqi to continue here. He just took a little bit of pace off that, and you can see Balbirnie just do the shot a little bit early, trying to hit that touch straighter, but he does find a gap with extra cover to get down the other end. Interesting here, when he started very well. I think in the previous few games, with Bernie's he's faced a few dot balls, and we've seen Paul Sterling standing on his back down the other end, and perhaps felt a little bit under pressure to make up for that. But his partner started very well here, so Sterling's certainly under less pressure to get after the fire that he normally is.
And of course, too, Paul Sterling needing 60 runs through this series to reach 3,000 in international T20 cricket, which would be an enormous achievement. We spent a lifetime talking about Martin Guptill in the New Zealand series, of course. There. So, marvellous achievement, if and well, and I'm sure he will potentially get there.
Hold away. We know Andrew Balbirnie loves the short ball. That takes him to 19. It is, of course, his highest score since that 60 he scored against India early on this summer. We're through 3 overs here at Stormont. Ireland are 26 without lost.
Yeah, and sort of delivery, Andrew Balbirnie really good on the pull and the hook shot, and it was help yourself stuff that really short, no pace on it at all, and easily dealt with down to that vast array of colourful.
Pomegranate. That's who exactly it was, Alan, but I think the poor chap was just looking to get his bat signed. I suspect security got to him eventually. But it did look like he got the bat signed though, so I wondered on all end, and it is Naveen ul Haq. I was a little bit surprised that it's taken 3 overs to get him into the attack. He's such an integral part of Mohamed Nabi's plans. And it's interesting to see as well, they have got a deep point or a sweep, or however you want to call him, to Paul Sterling. That's definitely a run-saving option. Sterling will know how much he loves those drives through that region. Just caught on the crease at touch there, I think. Didn't quite get forward as he just not went to short third. Wanted the single. The skipper quickly sent him back.
It's a funny one, that, because the third man is generally on the edge of the circle, and it's interesting to see Balbirnie going down to Sterling. I think that's probably a single miss there, because it's a long way to throw it to get to the bowler's end. Admittedly, Sterling's on the back foot, but with that moment to go. Just might be one that they just missed. This is the bit that Naveen brings. He obviously brings the ball back into the right-hander, but he has this ability to bowl really good slower balls. Again, you've got to kind of size it up a wee bit. Sterling being a little bit early on that. Very surprising at this point to see Paul Sterling 6 off 10 and Paul Brownie 19 from 10.
A welcome return to form for the skipper in the first 3.2 overs at least. Yeah, it's really good plans from Afghanistan. They know that with Naveen trying to bowl it wide and give the ball plenty of room to swing back in, they've given him the room to miss outside off if it doesn't swing, and he's got protection on the offside. They're encouraging Sterling to go for that option over mid wicket, which he normally does only later on in his innings. It's a strong punch from straight down the ground, but Naveen does well field. It's an interesting action, does Naveen?
Well, it's very stuttery on the way in, but he has a very good wrist. And you can see that, you know, that wrist action that generates that extra wee bit of pace. Don't quite know what he's done to his finger. Oh, there's a bit of blood there, it seems. Right. At the end of his finger there on the retrieve from Sterling. But it's been a very good over so far, 3 dots now for Naveen.
I wonder how long it is until Paul Sterling takes that option over mid wicket. That is his go-to. If they are bowling nice and straight to him and they have the protection on the offside, when he doesn't get that shot away through the covers, he does love to walk across and try and hit it through mid wicket. Now, being bowling quite straight, that is of course a risk. That is one of his, that's almost his secondary boundary option. When we say that, they've changed the field. They'll come up. Long on is now gone back, so he does have that shot through the point region if Naveen offers him that width. He was looking for it, but backing away deep into his crease to try and access that offside. Naveen got it just about straight. He couldn't pick the gap. Good contest this.
Really good contest. And again, from the perspective of where Ireland are, Sterling can accelerate at such a rate. This sort of stuff doesn't really matter. Just because you know the ability of the man. But really good from Naveen here. I mean, big piece there really for Naveen. He was so full, nearly a Yorker length, and it's again difficult with inducking from a stuttery run really. And again he even over stutters himself. There, Naveen.
I wonder if he's just trying to make Paul Sterling wait a little bit. One will definitely know that he's faced 5 top balls here. And let's make you wait a little bit longer before I try and finish out a maiden over.
You might need that on purpose now, see?
I think
Just a little bit of twist.
a little bit of mind games.
Yeah, okay.
5 dots in a T20 definitely puts plenty of pressure on Sterling.
I reckon he does about 70 steps before he gets to the wicket.
Sterling again looking to access that offside. Can't get it through. It was 26 loss through 4.
Maiden over to Paul Sterling. Unheard of. My time commentating, I can tell you. So, a really beautiful summer's evening here in early August. What could be better? Wonderful game of international cricket between 2 adversaries that have been at each other on a very competitive basis for the last 15 years, both becoming full members of the ICC.
Into the pitch first up from Amarzai. It's a bit of work. Points. He's not burning to a single. A decent little cameo did. As with Amarzai. 11 off 5, strike rate of 220. But he's got the ball in his hands now. Interesting to see Ireland start has got that winning percentage up over 50%. It was at 36% 2 or 3 overs ago. The start that Andrew Balbirnie has had has put them in the driver's seat according to that metric.
Of course, for our spectators, you'll see there on arms that black armband in recognition of Rudy Kurtzen, long-standing umpire from South Africa. Oh, and that should have been held, really. There was no dive, and Sterling, fortuitous boundary, you'd have to say. He's kind of struggled with the pace of the pitch for some reason. Hasn't really got any of his timing going, but they're the sort of moments when you kind of get the flow of your innings going, but maybe a dive here might have just done the trick.
Pitched up, that was in the slot, that was there. But I'll tell you what, I don't think Amarzai is going to be too pleased with Hazel Hakuruki there at mid-on. I think sluggish is what we use to describe that effort. Well, he didn't get hold of the one before, but this one, Paul Sterling has absolutely smashed into the trees over square leg. Once ball shot down the ground, you need to get going.
That's why I said there's no real reason to worry about Paul Sterling and strike rates and overs. When you can do that type of thing, it doesn't really matter. And the history books will tell you he is going to go down whenever he decides the end of his career comes as one of the greats of Irish cricket, Paul Sterling. Always box office, always a joy to watch. And as you say, Nathan, that looks to have gone out the road. So hopefully everyone is safe and sound. Oh, it's been a treat, but it does just show you, you know, had a dive come in there and maybe a catch, as you say, it would have made a huge difference. It was a very sluggish piece of fielding. And it's 2 deliveries that have now gone for 10. There's no right grade up to 100 now. Ireland in a lovely position, 37 without loss. Midway through the 5th.
That wasn't the length at all, I think. Amarzai, he hasn't got the pace of Haruki, who both before him at that end. We've seen that it's not the quickest of pitches here at Stormont. It never is. That hit me kind of belly high bumper. It doesn't get up when you're bowling 10 miles an hour slower than the other bowlers. That was just an absolute gift for a player as good as Paul Sterling, as much as he may be struggling early on. It looks like we've got a new ball. That's what Amarzai has it. He's at the top of his mark, and after just a couple of minutes delay, here he comes again. It's arguably an even better shot. Pulled on the front foot, just didn't pick the gap at mid-on. He's persisting with that length, a bit more behind that one, I think, after being pulled over to square leg. Bit of an effort ball that from Amarzai.
Amarzai is that pace, Nathan, that Ireland will look to.
Full ball, it's a low full toss, and he's under Sterling. He's beating for a little bit of pace, I think, as he tries to drive that one down the ground. Not a bad option, that, going to his Yorker.
I was just about to say that. That looks final ball of the 5th over. Unfamiliar territory this for Ireland. No wickets down at the end of the 5th, Nathan.
Well, we were saying we needed to see something hard out from Ireland. They've given it so far as Sterling swats that one away too wide mid-on. It's a good bit of captaincy from Mohammed Nabi. He just put long on back, recognising that Amarzai was bowling, pulled it straight. It's the end of 5 overs. Under 39 without loss. And myself and Alan are going to leave you now. Thank you very much, and Bobby Dutch.
issues with Paul Sterling. Very rarely you're going to see his maiden in a park.
Not at all, and Al-Haq had a very good series against Zimbabwe in their previous T20 and one-day series, actually, over in Zimbabwe. And Paul Sterling to face a maiden in the T20 is a very rare feat. Shows that getting the ball in those right areas with the subtle changes can be really difficult, and sort of over after those, Sterling getting dropped and then followed by a huge blow over square leg. Game of fine margins in T20 cricket.
Shot from Bernie. It's been good to see him back in some type of form today. Just playing the ball nicely, and I think what can get lost in this ever so slight slump he's been in is that he's quite clearly the man for the job for Ireland. I think a lot of people seem to have come away from that idea. He's quite clearly the best man suited for it, and I think in T20 cricket, especially at this international standard, it's the types of teams you're going to play, like New Zealand, like India. You know, it's difficult.
That support in the media to the public, to your teammates, makes it a lot easier to actually get those little shots.
Sterling trying something a little different there, and having O'Hara just sliding that one down the leg side. A piece of work from Garbaz on the stumps.
You know what one of the most difficult places to be is completely out of net, particularly in a T20 when you've got no choice but to continue to go, where you can't really afford to work your way into the innings, particularly against this team like Afghanistan, where you've got the likes of Rashid Khan very likely coming on to bowl in the next over. You have to go at face bowlers, and if you're a little bit out of net, that can be really difficult, but the support that he's had and the faith in the skills that he has allows him to come through the other side. 21 off 12 so far. As we see Paul Sterling pull out, I think a bit of movement behind the start screen. Alright, it's a little, I don't know what that is.
It's a little piece of fluff or something. Paul Sterling having obviously something that came up right into his eye line just before facing up there. Not one that we're overly used to on a regular basis.
Yeah, a bit bizarre there. A few players actually looked around to the start screen too and thought it was there, and there he was swatting his back up in the air, trying to get rid of a piece of fluff.
Yeah, Lack has been probing so far though. Slower, that's a fantastic shot from Paul Sterling. Kicked it all the way, straight down the ground. Almost carving into one of the photographers there in Stormont. All the way from Sterling, he moves to 24.
Well, that's just in the slot. You can't bowl that length to Paul Sterling. You'll see it's neither a Yorker nor is it back of the length. He's bowled right in the slot there, and Paul Sterling says thank you very much. Paul's swinging the back. Flourish, it's what makes him so good.
An absolute meat and drink for Paul Sterling. And that type of length causes a change in the field. Cover comes up into the ring. Mid-on goes back to long now. Will Sterling maybe try to give himself a little bit of room, try to carve one over the offside. Nobody back on that offside boundary. Just a sensible thing. Just nudges one into the leg side. Always one for a coach that. Having hit your six, let's say the next ball.
This is a much better field from Navi and the Afghan teams with the angle that Hawk's bowling with. Yeah, he's coming wide of the crease and angling in at Paul Sterling. It's a pretty difficult shot to clear that offside. Balbirnie generally takes the leg of the middle stump guard and he's a lot stronger through the offside. But for the likes of Paul Sterling, if you are going to multiple at a straight line and deep mid wicket, it's a much smarter field.
As he to the slightly longer mid-wicket ahead of the cricket, especially the corner. Well, it will be a tougher ask, that's for sure. Long comes into mid, Balbirnie, cover goes back out again. Just glanced and that's glanced away. And a lovely shot that from Andy Balbirnie. Boundary round the corner and brings up a 50 partnership between these two. A much needed 50 partnership, not only for Ireland, but for the confidence of these two.
So that's huge for Ireland, and we mentioned it multiple times, the game effectively comes out. And Ireland have done a fantastic job with 52 already, still a couple of balls remaining, and most pleasing for Ireland.
know, this power play was always going to be key. When you think about the middle overs, you think that Rashid Khan's going to be bowling 4, Nabi will bowl, Mujib still has plenty left as well. Kind of needed to be ahead of the run rate at the end of the power play. One would have sensed they're doing that and doing that nicely as well. And I think the thing that is fantastic from an Irish perspective is, especially Balbirnie, they've come from all proper cricket shots.
That's it, he's kept things very simple, and all that said, he's not tried to create anything, which is so easy to do when you've not got runs behind you. And they're talking about how we saw him here half an hour before anyone else from the Irish camp had turned up and was having a hit out in the middle, just going through his normal routines, hitting lots of balls, making sure his shape was right, and it was a lot of traditional stroke making that he's playing in the next two, and it's pleasing to see that he's taken that back out into the middle rather than trying too much under pressure.
Defended to the offside from Paul Stirling. Ends a very good power play for Ireland. 6 overs gone. Ireland in a good position at 53 without loss.
Yeah, the Irish team was slightly ahead of Afghanistan here after the 6. Afghanistan lost that early wicket, and Ireland 53 for 9, and both Paul Stirling and Andy Balbirnie looking on his touch. You see some beautiful stroke making, Paul Stirling playing to his strengths, hitting through the ball.
Alakazam water, pure and mineral water.
It's Rashid Khan coming into the attack from the city end. And this is really the key juncture of this game. To feel that a lot will depend on 4 overs for Rashid. And how Ireland can play, one of the best spinners in the world, a man that has really revolutionised T20 spin bowling in recent years.
I love Afghanistan cricket. As soon as his name was announced, the contingent of Afghani supporters around the ground all chanting his name. He's got legendary status back in his home country, and as you mentioned, the key here for Ireland, if these 4 overs are everything, are they able to rotate the strike? Are they able to minimise his impact in terms of wickets? That's going to be the key for Ireland.
Good start from Balbirnie. It's a hard one to know how you do approach playing Rashid Khan. Do you try and put the onus back on him, or will you be more than content for his role for 26 or 28?
I think the latter is good power play. So with Ireland going 54 for 9 after 6 overs, you don't need to attack him. There is no real requirement to do Paul Stirling go for a big slog across the line. At the same time, if the ball's in your slot and you want to have a crack, you have to back in your strengths. I'll be intrigued to see the approach that Paul Stirling does take. His natural instinct is to go at the ball. And
yeah, that's just what I was about to say, is that he does tend against spin to take that aggressive off, and that slog sweep is certainly a shot that he played numerous times.
See the big smile across Rashid Khan's face after that shot from Paul Stirling, and he knows he's in the contest here. They would have played against each other numerous times over in the UK in the T20 Blast. Looks like so far Balbirnie's more than happy to take the singles. You could see a really interesting contest here between potentially Ireland's best batter and Afghanistan's best bowler.
Definitely, this game is on a knife edge at the moment. Paul Stirling, having played and missed, going for that booming slog sweep, has been a little bit more circumspect the last couple of deliveries, and perhaps noting that maybe that was ambitious early on in Khan's spell.
You see a significant change in approach after that first ball from Paul Stirling, with both Balbirnie and Stirling more than happy to take the ones. Brings us to the end of the 7th over. Ireland going strong at 57 for 9.
breeze. Into a bunker here in the middle overs just because they had a very good power play. We've got to still try and force that issue.
As you see a change in bowling with the captain, Mohammed Nabi, coming into the attack. Yeah, the most important thing in these middle overs is to be really clear on your plan. So which ball are you going after? And Sterling, rather than that rush of blood and having a bit of a swipe at that ball, it's still being aware that, okay, if he's over the pitch, he's going to have us get a bit of width or maybe length, he's going to have a crack, but in between, and then going to throw strikes. So that's just that clarity. Plans will be fairly different. Sterling very likely favours the leg side a little bit more, whereas Balburney favours the offside. But either way, the important thing is that you're clear in how you want to approach it, and therefore give yourself a chance of executing it.
He's on reverse sweeping and he's got it away for four. Sterling, he found the gap. There was two men on the reverse sweep. There was a backward point and a short third, and it was past the outstretched hand of short third. It was Mujib in there, and Sterling gets the boundary and releases some of that tension.
So they really like that from Paul Sterling, taking the game on, again going to his strengths. He does play that shot a fair bit and was premeditated, but the line was out there and it was there to play.
Yeah, Nabi's such a difficult bowler to get away. Often gets forgotten, I find, in this Afghanistan attack with the bowling of Rashid and Mujib. Away, I think he's picked out the man. He has, it's a good catch out of deep cover. And Paul Sterling has to depart. He was only a few inches away from going all the way. But unfortunately, it has fallen short. And Sterling has to depart for 31.
See the disgust in his face as he holed out to deep cover. There's been much talk about Sterling getting starts and not being able to go on with him. And unfortunately for Ireland, he's got 31 off 28 and didn't seem to get a lot of that one at all. So we see Nabi coming in, throwing on a little bit wider, away from his arc. He was there, hit a bit of length, but he's got none of it. It seems to come off the edge of the bat there, maybe the balance. It can be a game changer. Sometimes it's down to millimetres.
Yeah, superb catch. There's a deep cut.
Fantastic knock from Wilson Tucker against South Africans in Bristol. So you see a leading edge straight away, almost a screamer of a catch as it runs down towards backward point, come back for two.
Well, Lorcan Tucker in that second T20 against South Africa was obviously out first ball. Thought the same fate may have just occurred here. Came off a leading edge, as you say, and was very, very close to just looping into the hands of backward point. But just about escapes backward point's grasp, and because of Lorcan Tucker's quickness between the wickets, they managed to scamper back for two and he's off the mark.
Often say you need a lot of luck in this game sometimes, and maybe that's a little sign for Lorcan Tucker that he's going to continue on his run of form from that first T20.
A tricky period for Tucker to enter into here with Can and Nabi bowling in tandem. You'd have to think they may bowl in tandem alongside Mujib potentially for the next 4 or 5 overs. Quicker speared that one in. I think Tucker premeditating that sweep. Gets a single away to finish the 8th over. 7 runs from it, but that first wicket for Afghanistan as well. Ireland 64 for 1.
It's going to be a really interesting contest over the next 4 to 5 overs that could effectively define the game.
Breeze.
Very important.
Tucker's to face the music of Rashid Khan. 4 singles from his first over. After a very positive start from Andy Balberry, still in a very good position at 28 off 16. He's been slightly starved with the strike in the last couple of overs.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting contest here. Rashid Khan versus Andy Balberry is, over the years, Khan has 4 for 26 at a run rate of 4.8 and over, and he does have the wood over most batters in international cricket, but that's a fairly impressive record with 4 wickets full thrown in the 26 runs. So it's an important matchup for Andy Balberry to effectively just get through and then allow himself to score off the others at the other end.
Tucker going on the sweep, and he's managed to squeeze that one past. Short fine leg, and it runs away for a boundary. A nice boundary for Tucker to get. Gets his innings up and rolling. Slightly speared in from Rashid Khan, but he got enough bat on it. And got enough bat on it to go away to the fence.
Looks like it's almost come off the back of his bat, side of his bat. It's a good ploy. Rashid Khan bowls so quickly and turns it both ways. It's really difficult to actually get him down the ground. So looking to score behind the wicket and we're utilising that sweep shot is a very good ploy to at least counteract him. Not necessarily need to go at 10s against him. It's just about effectively not getting out and going at 7s, 6 to 7s, and you're pretty happy with that.
Yeah, well, as long as that required run rate isn't kind of going to go up exponentially while Khan is on, have done his job, and we're seeing from Balberry, he's operating in a relatively circumspect way, but is still playing very positively against Khan. These are good drives. It's good to see Balberry. That he's in good form, and even those singles that he's pushing out to sweepers are being pushed out with a lot of intent.
That's the key. It's that positive cricket, positive intent. It doesn't have to be overly aggressive, but you still have to be positive and keep that required run rate within check. You know, if he gets a dot ball like that, it's one of the best in the world for a reason, and that brings us to the end of the 9th over with Ireland 72 for 1.
Alakazay water, purer than mineral water.
Yeah, very much so. Disappointing for Sterling, I'm sure. And the team tent at the moment so close to playing that one all the way. At the same stage, though, he was involved in a good opening partnership for his team that have put Ireland in a pretty good position at the 9 over mark, very close to halfway, and it will be a drinks break at the 10 over mark. That's certainly what is being designed today, just because of the sun. You have seen us a couple of times there where we're situated in the commentary position here today at around deep mid wicket for Mohammed Nabi. Absolutely scorching here.
Beautiful day for cricket. See that sweep shot employed yet again from Andy Balberry. It looks to come back for 2. The throw's a bit wide. That striker's end. It's a very good piece of running.
Yeah, strong work from Balberry. It's a very strong shot, but this is why Lorcan Tucker's so good at the crease. Not only the runs he scores, but the runs he makes his partners score because of his quickness between the wickets. It's a real key attribute. So Balberry goes over extra cover. That's a lovely shot. It's well placed. most importantly, got plenty of it as well. A few bounces and trickles into the rope for another boundary for Balbernie. He moves to 36.
That's right, and Balbernie's wheelhouse, he's so good over cover and through cover. Didn't seem like he got all of it, just catching the end of the bat, but it was enough to trickle over. And again, if you're hitting gaps, you give yourself a chance of getting caught.
Nabby mixing up that pace, shooting that one through a lot quicker that time around.
Nabby's just got so much experience. He's been a long time all-rounder for Melbourne Renegades back in Australia. See another sweep bouncing just before the sweeper on the boundary. He was part of the Hyderabad Sunrisers in the IPL this year. Unfortunately, didn't get a game, but he has played a fair bit of IPL before, and he knows the situation, he knows how to read conditions, and he'll certainly be a man that they're relying throughout the series.
Goodbye from Lorcan Tucker to finish off the 10th over halfway stage of the reply. Ireland 80 for 1. They need further 89 runs from 10 overs. The players are going to have that drinks break, as I alluded to. Balbernie 37 not out, and Lorcan Tucker 10 not out.
Jose Jensen, energy drink.
Wow.
Jose pomegranate.
One ball at a time as best as you can. They're really clearing plans, particularly against the spinners that we've spoken so much about. And the ability to actually stay in the contest, and then you give yourself a chance with the explosive batters that are coming through with Harry Tector and magnificent form in next. Looking like they're in with a real good opportunity. We say goodbye to Andrew and welcome to Alan Lewis for the next 5 overs.
Thank you, Bobby. From an Ireland perspective, what an encouraging beginning. 80 for the loss of one wicket. All we've talked about mid-innings has happened. In good position now to, hopefully from their point of view, go on and win the game.
As we mentioned, they've just got to stay in that process for the next 5 overs. It can be easy to them, particularly when you've lost a few close ones, to keep looking at that scoreboard and keep wondering what do you need to go at, keeping track of things. But the way these two are going,
Soft hands, really, isn't it? Just keep the scoreboard ticking. We've spoken about it time and time again.
so we see Amazai back into the attack. 13 off his first over in the power play, but only 4 out now. The ball potentially not swinging as much. It's right on the money to start with.
That was an example there, Bobby. And it's interesting to see Lorcan Tucker. Could he have got that into the leg side? Huge area of vacant space there, no risk. Prevent the job.
A piece of positive cricket there from Lorcan Tucker, using his feet, trying to create some space, and he actually got all of that, and unfortunately hit him, just found the cover sweep right on the boundary. But the way he hit that ball, 10 metres started as talking about earlier in terms of that positive intent. Continue that, you at least get 1. Hit that, then you're looking at 2 or 4.
something that I've noticed too, Bobby, the employment of two sweepers on the offside, a backward square, third man in the circle.
Employ that similar field that Ireland did towards the back end. So the man we're bowling out now, the city end, the bigger boundaries on the offside to the right hander. He's gone for the rats. Fantastic shot over the 45 that's up in the ring. It trickles away for four. Great pick.
Again, sometimes when Lorcan Tucker is a very good exponent of that shot, but it seemed to me he just remained that way. Yeah, a little bit of move, a little bit, if he can just stay that little bit still, he gets in a very good position. And again, got the elevation, which was the key thing.
Similar to what we saw in the first game, where first innings I should say, when the ball was outside the off stump and the batters hooked across there, so the wide line moves with them. So even though that delivery was outside the marked wide.
Oh, that's a great shot from Lorcan Tucker to hit that on the full where he did. And with the direction, that is a smashing shot for him. That's not an easy thing to do, Bobby.
Yeah, the low full toss is not always the easiest to hit. Look at the Tucker, it's put it away for perfection. You can see there, you have to actually nail it and get under them. He's done that with a little flourish at the end there and just sat in his crease and watched that sail right into the rope, and it's clear it by a good 20 or 30 metres in the end.
He must have gone to the George Dockrell School of hitting full tosses. 92.
So Captain Nabi's taken himself out of the attack and brought in Mujeeb into the attack, the somewhat mystery spinner that's had a lot of success around the way, sometimes ski, sometimes takes the pace off. Very difficult to line him up, but sometimes as a batter you just got to rely on keeping your plans as simple as possible. It's when you've got a bowler that's bowling something different every ball, it's difficult to innovate, but what it can present is balls to actually score off. See a misfield on the boundary there, and they come back to two.
Captain Nabi won't be pleased with that. Just ricocheted off the knee there, went down the wrong kind of way. There was no really need for him to go down.
We spoke about with G, he very rarely bowls the same delivery twice in a row. He's got two faster outside off, and then that one was, as you mentioned before the game, Louis, it's about finding a way to rotate the strike, and when you get the opportunity to take the boundary, you take it. He's gone for a sweep shot, executed perfectly in front of square, and that's another four. Lorcan Tucker are really doing a good job employing different types of sweeps.
With a lot of loud cheers from the Irish tent, and quite rightly so. Lorcan Tucker really taking this on. Some excellent sweeps. Very good sweeps, really well there, and he's playing with so much confidence since he's moved up to three in this order for Ireland. And again, even more pleasing, a single to follow it up. The interesting thing here also, Bobby, and we'll perhaps talk about it when we come back, 100 for 1. There is a ball to go, but there hasn't been a huge amount of spin.
The end of the 12th over, and Ireland 100 for 1. Yes, it doesn't look like there's been a huge amount of spin at the moment.
Alakazam water, pure and mineral water.
I think the other interest deliveries. Ireland have been here before, and it will be a case of lessons learned. We're in a great position to win this game. As Rashid Khan comes back into the attack.
Going to be a crucial couple overs from the whole game perspective, effectively. Rashid Khan is someone that Afghanistan relied on to take wickets through the middle order, not just go at that low economy rate, and he effectively needs to push it a little bit longer to see if he can create that wicket.
Again, it's clear here in Ireland in terms of how they're looking to attack Rashid Khan. A lot of sweeps, and he gets that pace on the ball. There's a huge amount of turn, which is an advantage for Ireland. That ball getting clipped away on the leg side, no harm done. 3 singles in the first 3 balls. It's good from Ireland.
Interesting with Lorcan Tucker, he scored 150 in 15 games, but when he's batted at 3, he's got 4 innings at 5, he scored a 50, and that innings that we've spoken about with him in Bristol, it's a very good sweep shot employed once again, very fine through 45, another 4. And Balboni looks an ominous touch.
Well, isn't it so pleasing to see? It's not easy being a batsman, or batter, should I say, sorry, Bobby. But when you're out of the nick, there's no worse fit. So pleasing to see him back playing with confidence. I've noticed, maybe perhaps when he's talking to us after, just one slight little change. There's that little chink, that forward press. And again, that's perfect. Soft hands, that's really, really good. The feet seem to be moving that little bit better. Just maybe have a think about a few things. And it's so pleasing to see 47 now from 31. Type of strike rate you want. Lorcan Tucker, much the same as you say, since this elevation to 3. It's gone from strength to strength, Lorcan Tucker.
And there's that sweep employed once again, which brings us to the end of a very successful 13th over with Ireland 109 for 1.
Yeah, really good over that for Ireland because, as you say, a key player, if you can dominate him in any sort of way at all, it just fills that dressing room with confidence. There's been a cheer with every boundary that's gone on. It's kind of no practice day yesterday really for the team. They sat down and maybe thrashed out a couple of things, and sometimes you need to do that as a team, Babby. I'm sure you've been in a couple of dressing rooms all the time where you've got to get things off your chest.
That's a great shot down the ground. He's pummeled Mohammad Nabi's first ball of that over for 4 straight back over his head. Absolutely, that team culture and that environment is so important, and the Irish team now, as they're playing so much cricket and they're together all the time. And you can see the unity at the moment where it's a 50 partnership coming up between Lorcan Tucker, and every run, every piece that's to the plan that they've very clearly defined. As we see another big shot go for 4, is cheered extremely loudly by the Irish team on the sideline here, and this is an incredible innings from Lorcan Tucker once again.
Absolutely brilliant that. Just got himself to off stump. And again, Nabi should have really been said. Afghanistan will look back and really there's been pretty poor fielding display from them. Again, that's really good from Lorcan Tucker. 4-4-1. It's played so beautifully here. Really has. By his own standards, had an untidy day with the gloves, I would have said.
See him 1 up. Balberti relying on that ever reliable cut shot. They look to come back for two. Another really good piece of running.
Excellent piece of running. It takes Balberti to 49, and that's Balberti's highest score at Stormont, which will be really pleasing too. It's just another gremlin off the shoulders. Excellent.
Sometimes all it takes is one shot, one innings. In case of Lachlan Tucker, it's that one innings down in Bristol, and the way he's playing today is unbelievable. The confidence, the clarity, the lines, and the general bat flow with Balberti. He struggled a bit. He's now 49 off 33, and he played a magnificent sweep shot in the first over of the day. And you could just tell from there the clarity and plans and his ability to execute just so quickly, because he punches it out into the leg side to bring up a long awaited 50. It's a fantastic innings from Andrew Balberti.
And that will really please everyone in this ground. You can see his own teammates absolutely thrilled for that. At a personal level, your skipper gets to 50, and I need to tell you, that's only the
Alakazam water, pure and mineral water.
What the previous coach always talked about, you know, when you've got home advantage, make sure you can kind of try and press it home, and a huge part of that is the pitch preparation. Because really, the Afghan spinners haven't really threatened, but more because of the attacking nature of Ireland's play.
Been very clear in their plans, the Irish batters. They've certainly gone to that sweep shot a fair amount against all types of spinners. And bar that one shot from Lachlan Tucker down the ground there, we haven't actually seen them try to go down the ground too much, which is very difficult against these spinners. Even though there's not that much turn, it's the changes in pace and the pace that they bowl with to start with that makes that difficult. As you see, set up for the sweep there, but well bowled, Mungie going wide outside the off stump.
See, that's the other thing there. Balberti on 50. You know, I'm not suggesting by any manner of means he might have run that single when your head is frazzled and you're out of nick, but he was straight away. And that's good. It's 46 from 33. Themselves in a great position here in Ireland to for his ITW. Game's disappointed with that straight to extra cover.
He's got an awkward spot there in a cover. But you can see with the celebration from the Irish team there for Balberti's 50 wasn't any old celebration. They clearly got behind him as he sweeps out to the deep mid wicket. He's taken on the boundary, holding out. Andy Balberti very frustrated with himself there as Afghanistan take the second wicket for the day.
And that looks to be Sadran down there who's taken a very comfortable catch in the end. But a very good innings from the skipper, Andrew Balberti. He leaves for 51 from 38 deliveries. And Ireland now 123 for 2. Just didn't seem to get all of this, Daddy, did he?
Not at all. He's got to sweep shot regularly to that to his plan, but unfortunately on that occasion he didn't quite get all of it. And the nature of T20 cricket, you have to keep backing your strengths in. This time has found a fielder. Here to give them a chance at the back end. A couple of wickets in a row here certainly will shift that momentum.
And he's good through there. And he works the ball away on the leg side very well, efficiently off the mark. brings us to the end of 15, Ireland 124 for 2. And at this point, myself and Bobby will leave you in the capable hands to bring the match to a conclusion with Nick.
Outrize Ginseng Energy Drink.
We're in a very unassailable position here.
So you can never say anything's unassailable in T20 cricket. But I mean, it's just fantastic to see. We've said it before, time and again, is they can't get that one through a gap in the offside. So time and again, how important the power play is to this Irish side, given the top two. And they look like they've now got the right option at number 3, and Morgan Tucker, and all of a sudden that top 4 looks so much better. And when 2 or 3 of those guys get scores, the difference it makes to the perception of this team is incredible. I look like a groovy from Rashid Khan, which Harry kept her off for a single. What's been most impressive, rather, say that the power play came good. It always is going to at some point when you've got the likes of Mulgrew and Sterling at the top. It's how well they played the likes of Rashid and Nabi in particular. I mean, look at their figures. Nabi's gone at 9s, Rashid's gone at 7s. It's very rare you see that for this Afghanistan bowling attack, and Ireland have struggled with spin in the past, particularly at a ground like this that offers plenty of purchase, so it's very encouraging.
I think they've just gone about it in the right way, especially against Rashid Khan. They haven't taken too many unnecessary risks, and yet managed to be able to go comfortably at around 7 and over against him. As I said when he came on to bowl his first over, asked Bobby, what would you take? Would you take him bowling 4 overs, 0 for 24, 0 for 26? And I think the answer is you probably would. And in fact, you're going to get a situation here where, if they can see out these last 3 balls, he's going to be 0 for 28 or 0 for 29. You think. That being said, as I mentioned, when we've just come on a few balls ago, still got to go. Very good from Ireland so far today. Have to make sure that translates into a victory.
For the psychological side of it, if anything else, I think at this stage, I think there have been 3 or 4 near misses so far this summer against the bigger sides as well, but against a side like Afghanistan, who have probably overtaken Ireland in the T20 pecking order in recent years, but still, Ireland have been there for so long. It's a buzz out there for speed, but can't get enough of it to get past. The psychological aspect of getting past an Afghanistan side that has probably pulled away from Ireland in recent years would be huge.
Yeah, I think so. This Afghanistan team has gone to new levels over the last couple of years, and I think that this series is going to be so well contested. Both good for both sides. Rashid Khan there really showing his quality off those last 3 deliveries, 3 dot balls. 16 overs gone, 128 for 2.
Outrize water, pure mineral water.
Needing 10 and over, I think they probably would take that still, being only 2 down, players that they have left in the sheds to come. And Afghanistan's most dangerous spinner is done, and they do have the likes of George Darkle to come in and launch a few off the seamers towards the end. So I still think you take that position for now, but it just goes to show how quickly things can change. They always say when you're chasing add 2 wickets to your score, see if you're still happy with your position. And I think if that happens now, the answer is no.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. We'll see a change in bowling here for Faruqi coming back into the attack, and it's a hard one because Faruqi's a very good bowler in his own right, but he's probably a bowler Ireland will have to target here. Still got an over of Najib to go, potentially an over of Mohammed Nabi should he on to bowl himself. Rashi Khan now is finished, 4 overs for 25 for him, typically miserly. Really important over one senses there. Taylor has slammed that one out wide of long off, and I think the advantage between these two, both Hector and Tucker, is they are so quick between the wickets, the two of them. They've batted a lot together, both for the Leinster Lightning this year and for Ireland. Good understanding, and they're going to push those ones into twos. And I know that's such old cricketing cliche, you get taught that when you're 9 years old, but it will matter a whole deal, especially on a big enough ground like Stormont.
Pace off again from Faruqi. It's a very similar shot this time, doesn't get it in the gap enough to come back for the second. You just see there, he was a little bit frustrated with himself as he's running the wicket. I think he was motioning that he wanted to try and get underneath it a little bit more. I think he felt that was the length that he could really get underneath and hit over long off. So a little bit of frustration there creeping in, but
you can see with this field that Faruqi, one would sense, is going to be rolling well outside the off stump. Deep point, deep cover, deep long off. And again, that is the case, but Tucker picks out extra cover. There's that man in the ring on the offside. No need for panic yet for Ireland, of course, because still got plenty of wickets in hand. That required run rate is still very well manageable. Just don't want this game to slip from their hands.
I think this is just a classic game. Tucker's definitely the set batter, and the onus is on him at this stage, but Hector's going to keep taking along as well and keep giving him back a strike as he's trying to do a lot more than that there. I think Faruqi saw him leave the crease early and took the pace off nicely. Hector wasn't able to get underneath that shot. You can see what he's trying to do though. He knows that Faruqi, like he said, he's going to bowl that wide line outside off. He's trying to walk across, walk down the wicket as well, and target quite a big gap there deep in the wicket.
Yeah, I think it was a good idea, just struggling for execution, and that's sometimes the issue at a ground like Stormont. It's quite a difficult ground at times to join and immediately box it around, and that's somewhat what the task calls for here. It's a good shot from Tucker. He's got plenty of that. He got nearly into a gap. Going to get back for two very comfortably. Fine shot, but it could do it. Just one of those trickling even through hands for a boundary.
Yeah, it's an excellent shot from Tucker. Very difficult to get decent piece of the willow on that very wide line, but his footwork is excellent. He's been that to a full toss as well. That's probably just a byproduct of the fact that this offside boundary is just that little bigger. Perhaps on the other side that would have flown away to the fence. Those man in front of us wouldn't have been able to cut it off.
It's good bowling from Faruqi. Tucker couldn't do much more with that than he did. Just digs it out for a single. 17 overs gone. Ireland 136 for 2. They need 33 off the remaining 3 overs. Energy drink.
So Byron McCarthy do something similar, Josh Little as well. It's definitely, that's the ploy here with the dimensions at Stormont, and Ireland will know that. I think you can see, like we mentioned, Harry Tector was trying to counteract that and do something different and go over mid-wicket. So we'll see if they keep making plans.
Naveen O'Hack back into the attack. Two very contrasting overs for Naveen O'Hack. That first over was a maiden to Paul Sterling in the power play. The second one went for 14. I think Ireland would much prefer the latter on this occasion. Leg side dominant field this occasion, again to that bigger boundary. Tucker stays leg side of the ball. He just glanced that one away. Not sure whether he wanted to get that as fine as he did, but he certainly was opening the face And gets it away for a crucial boundary for Ireland and moves himself personally to 49.
Yeah, good option with the pace on there. Yes, definitely not as fine as he would have intended. That wasn't a million miles away from just nestling in the glove of that, but you take it, you take everything you can get at this with a fine leg up. So I think the response here is definitely one of his variations.
You'd think that would be the case. Third man, fine leg in the ring, has our point in extra cover. He just goes lower and Tucker gets back on it, but doesn't get enough to get it past Mujeeb. He does get enough to get a single and move himself to 50. A second T20 International 50 in just his last 3 games for Lorcan Tucker. 31 deliveries to get it as well, 6 fours and 1 6, a fine knock from the Pembroke batter.
Excellent from Lorcan Tucker, and it's really assuring from the Irish point of view. We talk about how much they rely on that top order in the power play, but even when those power play successes have been coming in recent months, they haven't necessarily been getting massive production from that number 3 slot, and that just eases so much pressure on the big 2 up top with Lorcan Tucker batting so well. Incredible record at number 3 from the few innings he's got there.
Goes slower to Tector and beats it down the ground, and they're going to come back for 2. It's going to be tight, but they do get through. Very good running from Tucker. Because he was so quick, it meant the throw had to go to Tector's end, and it's much harder to affect the run out on that occasion. Tector scrambles back for 2. These are important runs for Ireland.
It's a good start to the over. This 4 7 off, half point. Run rate just with 11 and over at the start of this. They're well on their way to getting there at this over, but I think it's a case of when you get those good overs, you've got to cash in. Even bigger.
Another boundary here will do the trick for Ireland. It's good play. Good bowling from Hack, but Tector. That wasn't by design, but he's clocked it so much that they've been able to come back for 2, and I suppose that's the one problem for Afghanistan with this heavy leg side dominant field with the men all out on the boundary, so you are going to be able to scramble those 2s.
He's desperately unlucky for having all that. He's completely outfoxed Harry Tector there. Seen him leaving his crease early, gone with his variation, his slow ball, and blocked the second run. The difference as well is if you remember who Ireland had in this deep wicket position to save those slow hit twos with Harry Tector. Afghanistan have Rashid Khan. I think a lot between them as someone that could have gone for 4. Hack gets away with bowling straight, full pace delivery on the pads with fine leg up. It's straight to Mujeeb, George Fine.
You can see from Tector's reaction there, hands on his head, couldn't believe it. A yard either side of Mujeeb, and that runs away for 4. Ireland in the bodies. Just a single as a result.
Just to quickly finish my point though, as much as Rashid Khan is a fantastic athlete, I think someone like Harry Tector is just a little bit quicker on the ground in the outfield. So we talk about the importance of who you've got where, and to be fair to Afghanistan, Rashid is probably one of their better athletes that they have. So from small margins and small gains you can get.
High, and Rashid Khan is circling underneath it and takes the catch. Tucker's got to go for 50. It was always got too much height and not enough distance. May have gone all the way on the other side of the ground, but he's got to go for 50 off 32. And Ireland's 146 for 3.
It's off again from Abdul Hack. He's encouraging Tucker to go to that longer leg side. He backed himself, moved across his crease, but got underneath it a little bit too much. And hell of a lot more important now for Afghanistan. Ireland require just the 23 off 2.
Dockrell, it's a face up. They did cross in the air. So it's Dockrell the man on strike. To Faruqi. Straight down the range, just going to be one. Dockrell does like targeting strikes, hitting the side screen, guys hitting over, long off, long on. I think that's where he's going to go, but can he be supported from Faruqi? Holding that one back ever so slightly. Get one.
Yeah, it's certainly where Jock Dockrell is going to try and hit it, but like you said, look at the field again. He's got that deep backward point, he's got that sweep on the offside. He's going to make it incredibly difficult to play straight back shots down the ground of the line. And section George Dockrell here needs to come up with different boundary scoring options.
And that's one way to do it. Harry Tector, stand and deliver. He's hit one straight out of Stormont there. He picked the slower ball from Faruqi. It sat in the pitch. And Tector, who hasn't quite got the pace of this pitch from his first 9 balls, certainly makes the count on his strength.
We're just talking about Faruqi bowling to his field, and the field made look to go downtown, and then he bowls a slower ball on his little leg stump that Tector. It just says thank you very much. Clear the front leg and swat it away over mid-on. He gets that one all wrong, does Faruqi, and it happens. That's probably the one he's gotten wrong in this spell, but he's been punished for it.
Especially when you're the batting team with these types of run chases, as you say, with the wickets in hand, only takes one blow, and suddenly this game, which looked like it was potentially slipping right back in Ireland's grasp, and you get another one, right? And the game's almost won.
I think so, that is true, but at the same time, the 10-11 and over at this stage of the game, with the wickets in hand that Ireland have and the players that they have in the sheds, we spoke about Dockrell's finishing ability. I don't think Ireland themselves would have thought this game was slipping away. I don't think Afghanistan either would have thought they were back on top. I think with that position and some of the games that were to come, I think you knew the stability was there for Ireland. Not by nobody has won yet, but I think they would have thought the game was slipping.
Below for and his Irish teammates in the tent. I'm sure there's a few just people in there. He's trying to get it out to cover straight to Rashid Khan. So it's just going to be one. It's a good piece of bowling from Faruqi. Went back to that quicker pace, right outside on that off stump, or wide off stump line. They couldn't do much with that.
A much better piece of bowling from Faruqi. When you bowl that wick, it's so hard to get it way over extra cover. You can see that was probably as straight as hard to hit it. Still went to deep cover. George Dockrell in half there. It's a brilliant wide Yorker and a precious stop ball for Afghanistan.
Yeah, the ebbs and flows of T20 cricket. Just 2 balls ago, big 6 into the trees. Faruqi bounced back in the best way possible. Good Yorker to take, only squeezed out the type of a Yorker. It's just physically impossible to hit. Drill that one to long off. It's just going to be one now. Dockrell will be a hint disappointed. That was more in the length he would have wanted. 14 off 7. Again, pressure back on Ireland. Doing the boundary off this last one.
It's very interesting to see Tector's approach here. Does he say the set man, his priorities can use on strike for the 20th over, or is he going boundary and he backs George Dockrell? I think he's got to back George Dockrell and go for the boundary option.
He has to, especially batting that shorter outside boundary. Wouldn't surprise me to see Tector maybe move a little bit across his stumps. See whether he can pick one up, just like he did a few balls ago. It's tremendous bowling from Faruqi though. And it's just dug out, and it's just going to be a single. It's very, very good bowling from Fazalhaq Faruqi. After that second ball, he missed it completely. 4 brilliant Yorkers on the trot. 19 gone, armed 156 for 3, and he 13 off the last. line there. So important. It's going to be Nabi Mulhaq to bowl that last over for Afghanistan. So Mulhaq to sector. Men inside the ring are behind the wicket mostly. Third man, fine leg, backward point, an extra cover. Long, deep mid, deep backward square, deep cover. There's 5 men out. It's a tremendous piece of bowling, but they're going to get back for 2 here. One would think. Dockrell and Tector. Dives going around. Good running. People getting in the way of each other. It's all happening. Tector gets 2. Again, not off the middle of the bat. And Nabi Mulhaq actually hurt himself a little bit here.
Tector is grimacing a little bit. I'm not quite sure what's going on, whether he's just he's trying to compose himself. He did take his glove off very quickly. Something that's taken a little bit. There's some areas he's had hand or wrist issues. We've seen him a few times just pop a painkiller and carry on with his innings. Having the opportunity to tell himself off. I'm not really sure what's going on, but on the other end, like you said, there's injuries on both sides.
Just been his first over, for an over. He was going to work after it. Tector, as you mentioned, has got a couple of issues with his wrist. You can see it. He doesn't have his glove on. You can see it on his left wrist. It's relatively heavily up at the moment. Won't be sure he'll issue here now. They haven't moved it out far.
Doesn't have a bit of a break, Andrew. This reminds me a lot of the second India T20 for Ireland, doesn't it? They lost by 4 runs. Going to the last over there, and you had 17 to win, and it was Marcus there batting with George Dockrell. So Ireland had a slightly better position in terms of wickets in hand, and of course, they needed 13 at the start of the over. Just a nice little comparison point. It's got 4 runs short on that occasion.
Almost the final over had everything as well. Looks like good chance. Marcus there played a miss at the first 2. And then the second ball's called no ball. There was pandemonium in the stadium. But we're all back. Mulhaq is fine. Tector's fine. Slower ball. Plays it well over extra cover. Is it going to go to the boundary? You bet it is. Harry Tector's got a fantastic boundary away over extra cover. He picked the slower ball. He stayed strong and he's hit it over. That's just Zadran, I believe it is. And extra cover. And runs away.
It's just the width that's done for Nabi Mulhaq there. We all know Harry Tector's bread and butter is over extra cover. Nabi went to his slower ball there. Always a little bit more difficult to control, and he's got it a touch wider than he would have liked. Tector read it and held his shape nicely.
7-4. 6-4 for a super over here in Stormont. Tremendous delivery from Nabi Mulhaq. And Tector, I think he took very well to get any sort of bat on that. That is fantastic worker.
Excellent response from Nabi. Got a slow ball wrong, got the line previous delivery, but he's gone slower ball followed by a fast Yorker. Like you said, Tector's a big man, it's a long way down for him to get some bat on that toe crusher, but he survives. More importantly, Ireland get another run. 6 off 3 is the equation.
Yeah, 6 off 3, just one blow with written there. As I said, if the game is tied, we will go to a super over here in Stormont. Don't think my nerves would be tied for a super over, I must confess, but I love a super over around here.
Would love it, the punters would love it. Interesting to see what Nabi does here. Yorker's a risky option. Dockrell's so strong down the ground if he gets it wrong.
Goes slower. Powered down the ground by Dockrell. It's very straight. That's a good piece of fielding, but he parried it for 4. It's gone for 4. George Dockrell has got it away to the boundary. It was Ibrahim Zadran down there, the hero with the bat for Afghanistan. I thought he fielded it superbly, but he ended it up just parrying it round the post and parrying it past Mohamed Nabi. And just when Ireland needed a slice of luck, they finally got one.
Oh, that ball just kept going and going. Zadran looked to have the angle to cut it off, but Dockle didn't time it particularly well, but it just kept going. Really fast outfield here at Stormont, and it's a fantastic effort from Zadran. It's a cruel one. He's got a really good piece of it, but just his momentum with the dive, he's ended up just sending the ball that way, and all of a sudden, 2 off 2, and we're in the driver's seat.
Ireland has been on the receiving end of some cruel bits of luck this time. That was maybe just something that went there. Couldn't say it wouldn't be deserved, 2 off 2.
You mentioned this, you over, Andrew, just in case Afghanistan managed to pull this back. The last time Ireland did beat Afghanistan, it was by a super run.
Harry Checker got the great Sunday. Over Ireland as well. Has been a man at the summer of his life. And he's drilled it away. That could be 2. It's going to go away for 4. And Ireland have finally won a game this summer, and deservedly so. George Dockrell and Harry Tector, the 2 men of the summer for Ireland, are there at the end. And there is palpable relief around Stormont. What a fantastic game of cricket we've been treated to. And Ireland have won by 7 wickets with just 1 ball to spare. And Dockrell and Tector, 25 partnership of 11 deliveries. Fantastic, and we can all take a deep breath.
Poor old, he was the one who got Afghanistan to what we